night or early Friday morning, depending upon where you are in the world, a group of experienced comics professionals get together to examine and instruct about the art form that they love. That's great comic artwork on Comics by Night, Fridays at 5 a.m. Eastern, here on the Indie Comics Network, indiecomicsnetwork.com.
What was that? This is not a charade.
What a crowd. What a crowd. Actually, it's not quite a crowd, is it?
No, not really.
There we go. Just a little bit bigger in here. Got a little more crowded in here.
Just time for Pedro to run.
Just in time, right? Yeah. So I will warn you.
Oh, there you are. Hey.
It's 8 a.m. down here, so I'm giving you the bathroom. I'm going to close that door.
And
I'm having breakfast, and I don't want to confuse everybody because I'm not Mexican, but I'm having quesadillas. So, give me 1 second.
After breakfast.
A quesadilla.
Quesadilla.
I like that he said it kind of like I do.
I have pizza for breakfast myself.
I have not. I'm having coffee for breakfast is what I'm having.
Yeah.
So we will have a guest today at some point. Mr.
Maybe.
Kelsey Shanon will be joining us.
Oh, awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yes,
I love
around
Kelsey.
10 o'clock. Yeah, hopefully around 10 o'clock we'll be finding. We'll get Kelsey sliding on in here. We'll talk about his work, especially in sequential work, because one of the things we're going to talk about is finding a niche. And finding a niche, and I think
Niche.
a niche.
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 A nice.
Niche.
A niche.
A nice sounds German.
Is that the night that say niche? Anyway.
The night that's a niche. Yeah.
Niche.
And they demand the strawberry.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I demand the shrubbery. So yeah.
Shall demand
So
the
we're
shrubbery.
gonna talk about finding your niche, your something special, as my mom used to call it.
Because we're all special.
Because we're all
diverse.
special. We talk about that a
Special
little
and
bit. We're going
diverse.
to talk about the power of marketing and how it can be used for and against you. You've got to learn how to market, and you've got to understand how marketing trends work.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that a little bit because I know that is something very useful for the majority of the comic book people out there right now. They don't know anything about marketing. They think it's this magic thing ran by elves. But guess what? You too can become a marketing guru.
Still run by elves. But anyway.
The marketing machine run by elves. That's funny.
I try not to be insulting, but if some of the people out there that have marketing degrees and can call themselves experts, you too can call yourself an expert.
Mm-hmm.
There we are.
It requires two brain cells rubbing together. So, if you can't quite figure out marketing,
No.
you're like, Luke, what are you saying?
Yeah,
I'm trying not to insult my audience.
Tell that to Heiderscheid. Anyway.
The first rule of marketing: shower.
Shower.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
presentable.
Be nice.
Exactly.
Be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about some marketing and how it's used for and against, and some of the campaigns that have worked and not worked. And we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning. But we are going to talk about the news because there's a lot going on in the news. Well, not a lot. So I need to take that back. Not a lot. There are a few things going on in the news that are noteworthy. And so, you know what? We might as well hop right into it. I know Randy's got to head out early. I do too. I've got a ton of work today. We're really going to try to keep this thing around the 2-hour mark. So today is like bacon bits.
Yeah, bacon bits.
It's like a half stack. If you
We're
will.
going on a diet, so bacon bits is for salad.
Salad, right? Bacon bits is for salad.
Mm-hmm.
And
if I step out at any time, it's only temporary. I got the construction guys coming for the house.
Oh,
Again.
Are we going to hear them upstairs again?
No,
right.
they're working on the small bathroom now.
You may hear the angels a bowling here
exactly.
at the Stone House.
Mm-hmm.
We've got
Angels
really bad
a-bowling?
storms here today.
Oh yeah.
So I did have a power flash and everything went down all at once,
Dude.
temporarily right before the show. So I was able to get that back up in time. Right now, let's not jinx it. But
Yeah.
the old internet's working pretty good right now. Having said that, I think I know why it's working so well today. Because I just bought 200 feet worth of cable and an Ethernet booster so that I can figure out how to run a cable from one side of the house through the floors and walls into my office so I can hardwire my thing.
In
Because
an
it keeps
old house
dropping out.
now, are you?
Yep. Yeah, it's an old
How
house.
that goes? I know how that goes.
150 years old, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Damn,
it's a
that's
five
cool.
bedroom, 150 years old. I mean, it's huge, right? And so I'll be working on
Hey,
trying to
Justin.
figure out how to get a
What's up?
hardwire over.
what's up, dude?
So yeah, but all new equipment's supposed to be here today, and of course the internet will be working okay this morning.
Well,
Let's go ahead
speaking
and
of
welcome our
internet,
guest this morning.
my camera. I don't know. I guess our internet's being weird, so I figure I'll just grace you guys with Scratch's presence here, Chrome Dog.
You got smoke down where you are?
Oh boy. Okay. Do I have a story for you, sir?
Mm.
So
'Cause I've got haze and rain here this morning. It was
Yes.
great. I had to
Oh, dude.
run a quick errand, and it was just
Yep.
crap.
I couldn't leave
weather.
the house yesterday.
Yeah.
Dude, you guys
I
are
wasn't
being
allowed to leave the
judged
house
by
because of the
God.
smoke.
yeah, it's
Climate down here is just perfect.
So we so what happened?
Rub it in, Pedro. Rub it
What
in.
happened was we had a really good week last week, right?
Yeah.
We were traveling up the East Coast, going to we went to Rhode Island, and then we found a spot over. We actually went all the way up to Maine, went to Bar Harbor, and
Oh, cool.
while we were there, it was so pretty. And then
Right.
it started raining because it's what do you expect? It's the Northeast, right?
Yeah.
And so we make our way over to New York to visit some family, and then we leave New York, and no sooner do we leave, we start noticing the haze coming into Pennsylvania and coming around Lake Erie. And when we stopped at the Pennsylvania Welcome Center, the lady said that, oh, that's just it's just a little bit of what'd she say, fog off of Lake Erie mixed with a little bit of farmer smoke. Okay, these are her words. And we're like, okay. And so we kept driving, and it got worse, and it got so bad that it choked us up a little bit.
Yeah.
We started hacking and coughing up stuff. And yeah,
The
we
farmers were
basically
smoking the good one then.
right. But
Good
we
goose.
we pretty much
Farmers
chased the smoke cloud all the way down. Let's see, it got okay once we got to I think it was near Columbus, but then then and then we checked in for the night, and then or maybe that was near Cleveland. It's everything runs together when you're in Ohio. I'm sure many can attest to that.
Yep.
But as we came down, it didn't actually clear up until we were like almost through Kentucky, and so by the time we got to Tennessee, the clouds parted and skies were beautiful again. So
yeah, I wasn't allowed out yesterday because of air quality.
Yeah, I bet.
They're like, Luke, if you go out there, you'll probably die. And I'm like, well,
yeah, it's terrible.
I guess I'm going to
really
stay
bad.
inside.
Just be breathing heavy. That's
so
all.
I decided to
Is
stay
it that
inside.
like Canadian curse you're getting?
Oh, whiskey's fault.
Huh?
Yeah, it's all whiskey's fault. We're going to blame them Canadians.
Yeah.
Nice.
Them dirty Canadians.
So
I
what's-
started that hashtag blame Canada.
No.
Blame Canada.
I'm all for that right now.
It's all
Let's
our
welcome
fault,
our chat. Welcome, chat. We got Schism in the house. All hail. He was a little early. 6:30 a.m. is when this one says it came through. Hail to all FMC. Hope
Patiently
you
waiting
add
for his
East
bacon.
EU shipping, and I'll tell you what, we do have it.
Nice.
We do have that shipping over there. You might have to call us or email us rather. And he goes, bacon. And he was here, a sweet bacon smell. Got John Eppel in the house. How's it going? It is going fine. Bacon and coffee. We've got the comic book black belt in the house. Yo, Sizzlerts. I like that. Sizzlerts.
Yeah.
Yes, Russ Leach in the house. Dr. Crows. Carnival Comics is in the house. Morning, everyone. Glenn B. Fleming.
Glenn.
What's up,
Bacon.
Glenn, not Glenn. Glenn.
Glenn. Bacon.
Martha Fathers. Or however that goes. What was that? Hashtag Martha. I can't remember. It was funny. Whatever we did. That's old school Nerd Bacon lore. We've got Hojo in the house. Welcome. We've got here as well. Kelsey is awake. Kelsey is not awake yet. He's not here yet. He's on in a different time zone. So he's coming in a little bit later.
Fashionably late, I'd say. Probably.
Fashionably late, yeah. Yeah. He's been busy working, so. Just Call Me Insane is in the house. Welcome, Mr. Insane. It's good to have you here as well. Dave Brink is here. I suck at marketing, yes. But you know what? You can get better at marketing.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. Finatra is here. Hola, gents. It's great to have you here, Finatra.
What's up,
We've
man?
got,
Shigama.
the bunny from the
What's up,
rabbit
bunny?
hole over here. Greeting,
Rabbit
bacon ears.
hole.
It's good to have you here today. Let me see. What else do we got going? Marketing is a skill you just have to learn to get used to. Practice. Yes, it is.
Oh.
Very much. Critical Blast is here in the
And
house today
shower.
as well. The only YouTube comic show that is keto friendly.
Nice.
Yes.
Well
And
done.
lucky in Kentucky. So Kentucky and Indiana have always had a rivalry, if you will. And one of the things that we will often say, I can't say that on the air. Never mind. Forget that.
Say it. Yeah.
Scratch that. Let me tell you about this one time, these two old boys. We had a Hoosier and a guy from Kentucky, one of these old mountain boys. They are arguing. Now, there's the Wabash River separates southern Indiana from northern Kentucky, right? So you got the Hoosier on the north side of the river, and you've got the redneck guy on the south side of, on the south side of the river. And they are both yelling back and forth all day long, just trading insults one to the other, just back and forth, tit for tat. And I'm telling you, these guys don't seem to be losing steam. They go from sun up to sundown, and the sun finally goes down, and it's dark out, right? And finally, the Hoosier lays a death blow of an insult on this old Kentucky boy, right? And he's had enough. And he says, I'll tell you what, if I could get over there, I'd kick your butt right now. And he says, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you put your butt where your mouth is right now. And he says, I got this flashlight here. I'm going to shine this flashlight across there. And you walk across that beam and you get over here and we'll settle this like men. And he says, what do you think? I'm some kind of idiot? I know I'll get halfway across that beam and you shut that flashlight off. That's the same response my kids give me to that story.
That's about
If you had to stop and think about that punchline, you might be from Kentucky. Said if you have to stop and think about that punchline, you might be from Kentucky.
I think Kentuckians are just jealous they don't have a cool nickname like Hoosier.
Right? Like, I don't even know why we're called Hoosiers.
I'm getting this like huge like Hatfields versus McCoy vibe. I don't know.
That's totally what it is.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
entirely. That is entirely what that is.
Okay.
Yeah, that smoke was pretty bad. So yeah, he says his eyes were burning.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
That's the end of Killing Joke.
It's been hazy here. Yeah, there we are.
Oh my
That's the
God.
end
Did
of
you go
Killing
for
Yeah,
a
it was
sip?
it was
Wow.
pretty bad here. Yeah, it was pretty bad here yesterday. So the storm is actually helping.
Yes.
But we may lose power. We may have flooding today. So yay! Oh, that's fun stuff.
Awesome.
So we're going to go ahead and get into some business today. I do want to let you know I'm going to stick a banner up here right at the bottom. So scroll along. Just to remind you that if you're buying Gemini mailers for your shipping of comics or magazines, please check out with Nerd10 as the code. You'll save 10% off your order. It's good for you. It's good for your customer. And it's good for the environment.
Plus, it's
I
good
don't
for
know if
Nerd
that's true
Bacon.
or
Gets our name out there.
It does.
Yeah,
It
dude.
gets our name out there.
I'm having like indentured servant coffee right now. It's awesome, dude.
What the heck?
Oh yeah, dude. Like you
What's
go to the
indentured
farm
serving coffee?
and then you pick one guy and that guy's gonna pick your coffee.
And indentured servitude.
Yeah, because the other thing is outlawed,
14 cases. Good God Almighty.
It's so
That's a
good.
lot. That's a lot of Gemini mailers.
Some good mailers. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
I thought he
that's
said
good.
14 cases of indentured coffee,
Coffee,
indentured servant coffee. It's like deckon.
An indentured
There's a joke
servant
in there
is somebody that
somewhere,
has to
but-
be there because they're
Yeah.
indebted.
Yeah,
I'm an
exactly.
indentured
That'd be a
servant.
great
Yeah.
coffee brand name, though.
Yeah, dude.
Indentured servant coffee.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Yes.
Speaking of coffee, Crack-A-Boom Coffee is going to wind up hitting the market soon, hopefully, because I just have to have some time to get the branding finished, and then we'll be ready to get that
Call
thing
that
going,
flavor.
Get a first order.
Well, no, I guess Pedro
Like the
should call that
boom
flavor.
coffee.
He could come up with a flavor and call it indentured servant coffee.
No, it's indentured IS coffee. Indentured servant,
IS.
and this blend is called Family Tears. Oh, no. Amazing.
Family tears.
Family tears.
Family
Where's
tears.
Daddy? Picking coffee.
Sad.
Shut up.
Sad.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. All right.
It's going out
With
to
that,
the
speaking of
fields
sad,
there and just like you
Mel
there for
Thompson
50
passed
years.
away.
Mel Thompson
Oh,
passed
my.
away.
You're picking my
Oh
coffee.
no.
Mel Thompson passed away.
Guest column by Mike Friedrich, creator of Ghost Rider.
Yep, there's a guest column. Yep. Mel Thompson passed away on June 25th. So yeah, that's pretty sad. We've been losing
Yeah.
a lot of good people lately.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah, life
one
ends.
silence for them.
Passed away on June 25th, according to his
One
wife.
silence for them.
He
I mean, he had a good run. That's what.
cause of death was an infection in his brain.
Oh, that's what 74.
Yeah, that's still kind of young, man. 74.
Yeah, and a young one.
The older you get, the further away old looks.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he was only 93. I mean, come on.
I mean, come on, he had a good run. Yes, like, sir, you're in overtime right now.
Yeah.
At 43, I'm like 73. That's like 30 years away, man.
Yeah,
Like that's me not seeing my grandkids grow up. Like that's too young. That's too young to go. So you start thinking in commodity of years.
yeah,
Measuring everything against Methuselah.
Yeah.
that's a good
That-
one.
669 years or 969 years old. That seems reasonable.
I don't know. Like, I'll get bored by year 300. I think. What else am I gonna do?
He was so close to 1,000. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Would that like piss them off? Like, what? Hey, what? No.
how old did you make? 999
Ugh.
in almost one day.
And 4 months.
Yesterday was gonna be my birthday.
Wow.
That's what he's saying in heaven.
Said
2
Mel
days after he
Brooks.
got there.
Mel Brooks went like that. Or not Mel Brooks. George Burns. George Burns went like that.
He did, yeah.
They had his birthday all planned out, and he
But an
passed before he
infection
could
in
get
his
there.
brain.
My dad died on his birthday.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he died on his birthday. Yeah. Yeah, that was
Chance encounter in the mid '80s with comics industry professional Mike Friedrich led to him working in marketing.
Oh, the story is still around.
worked in marketing. Ooh.
Distillery.
The story.
All right, so Distillery announces the 8 series will launch from the Devil's Cut.
None
We
of them
talked about
will
this
include
Devil's
vowels. Yes.
None of them. No vowels anywhere.
No, we can't afford it. Roll the wheel again.
Can I buy a vowel, please?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, only if you buy the comics. In issue 2, we'll throw in 3
Vanna
vowels
in
for you.
sight. Yeah.
Yeah.
No Vanna in sight.
With the Devil's Cut, a majority of self-contained stories lay the foundation for series to come, said Distillery CCO. There's one of your vowels. Chip Mosher, in a statement accompanying the announcement. To be crystal clear, these 8 stories found in the Devil's Cut are not previews, but the first appearance of new worlds from our founding creators and friends. We expected that, didn't we?
Yeah.
That this first offering was going to be their. These were going to be the properties they were going to launch. So you got Spectrograph by James Tynion,
Tinian.
Christian Ward, and Bidiker.
Aditya Bidikar.
Bidiker.
Yeah, that's
Got Shepard
indeed.
by Mark and
Bernadone.
Ariella and Lee. You got 8 Rules to Make It Out in One Piece by Elsa. And
Charretier.
yeah, there we go.
Chartier.
PK
I'm
Cody.
so. And
Chartier.
Clayton Cowles.
PK Cole.
I'm so bad with the names. I let everybody else butcher them. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Gilardi,
again, you gotta be nice.
Clayton Cowles.
You gotta be friendly. You gotta be likable. I'll work on that.
Merca Endelfo.
A
Fabio.
Blessed Day,
Yeah.
and then we got the Stowaway by Jock.
Is
Jock.
a blessed
Yes.
day, it has there's something funny about a blessed day. Is all their last names are first names down here. Andolfo, Amelia, and Orlando.
Studio is the first name.
Yeah, I know. Studio Cáceres. He's a jerk. But yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Drew, I got a
Aren't they
question
all?
for you.
Aren't they all?
Yeah.
What do they
Just
call the
go.
rank of captain and over there?
I don't
Sorry
know.
about that. I mean, I woke up with weird energy today, guys.
We call him Captain here.
Yeah.
I think Phil Collins had a problem with this studio because he stutters his names like studio.
Studio.
All right. Anyway,
That's
Yeah.
studio, not studio.
I
That's
know.
studio.
It was right there, and I just
All
grabbed
right.
it.
Yeah, you grabbed
So hopefully, I mean, it's neat to see new companies starting up and
Yeah.
doing their thing.
Even
so
they don't have
hopefully-
vowels on it.
We wish them luck.
I wish them vowels.
especially with some of the stuff I've heard about Scott Snyder back, during all the infighting and stuff. Anyway,
Right. So to publish comics from Japan, Korea, China, plus webcomics and light novels, PRH announces Global Comics imprint, Inklore.
Oh.
Penguin Random House has announced a new imprint, Inklore, that will publish manga, manhwa, Korean, manhwa, Korean comics, and manhua, manhwa, and manhua. Hua!
Yeah. They should get in contact with.
Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back. Okay. As well as webcomics and light novels. The imprint will focus on genre fiction, romance, fantasy, science, fiction, horror, and slice of life.
Yeah.
And work that has previously been published digitally, following the success of webtoons-based titles such as Lore Olympus and Solo Leveling. So everybody's now trying to strike the webtoons iron, trying to get that one going, and I commend them for that.
God bless them, yeah.
I commend them for that. It is about time they start noticing some of the talent that's over there. I am afraid that what is going to happen is the same story that always happens. It's the suits see the money that can be earned, and so they go there and they rape and pillage.
Yeah.
until they've destroyed it and left it as bad as the place they left.
Yeah, and then there will be a new hashtag. Inklor broke me. Oh,
Inklor broke me.
Oh.
Distillery broke me.
Distillery broke me.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. Mm-hmm. So the launch titles also include Under the Oak Tree, which sounds riveting.
Korean fantasy
The Heavens,
romance
again, riveting. Northern Lights, a series of young adult fantasy graphic novels.
Yeah.
And Cherry Blossoms, After Winter. Again,
Blossoms
none of those sound appealing to me.
Yeah. I mean, we're all salty guys, man. Like this is
yeah.
not
Clearly, it's not for me.
Clearly, bad Netflix pitches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like Exo Kitty or whatever that show is. So my wife was watching that, and so she comes to complain to me about this show. So she watched the first one. Apparently there was 2 of them, and then this is where she goes off to school or whatever, and she goes, they completely abandoned like her entire character, who she was, and she was like boy crazy, and now they're making her a lesbian. And I'm like, yeah, I said that tracks.
That tracks.
Yeah,
Modern comics. Yeah.
Yep,
it's a normal adaptation.
That's a Netflix show.
Yeah.
Idris Elba will play like
the first 2 series were very popular, so now everyone was really looking forward to the third, so they lesbianed it up.
Oh yeah,
they alphabeted it up. That's what they do. It's how it works, right?
I would be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah, me too. Like they would break the formula.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she wasn't as impressed by this one as she was last one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess they ended it weird too. So it's like she's in love with a girl, and now like then she might be in love with this boy too. And it's like, like apparently she's just a horny girl. That's what it is.
I don't know that.
Like we've just got a show
you like
about a horny girl.
It's a cartoon, right?
No, it's live action.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it'd be a little bit of.
When you like both, that sounds greedy to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really is greedy.
Well, not
leave some for the rest of us, guys.
Yeah, God damn it.
Jeez, some trouble.
Keep it in your pants.
Have you read the line at the bottom there about at Inklor?
I did not know.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, it tells you all you need to know.
At Inklor, we are building a new home.
Can I read that?
Yeah, you read it.
At Inklor, we're building a new home for creators of emotionally rich, visually dynamic, and transportive stories from around the world, said Taylor in his statement accompanying the announcement. At an imprint of Random House World, Inklor will offer creators a multitude of opportunities to connect with a voracious global audience. We welcome storytellers from all backgrounds whose stories rekindle the effortless pleasure of reading first time. Yay!
But you have to be on webtoons first, and we have to figure that we can capitalize on.
Yeah, we have to know.
Voracious. I love that. Voracious global audience. Yes.
Look, they're not doing anything different than I'm doing with Iron Age distribution. We're taking successfully crowdfunded books and saying, hello, shop owners. Would you like a retail version of this so that you can capitalize with your customer base? So that you can also make money here. They've made money. You can make money.
While you wear
pants.
Can
be happy.
Yeah, you can make money while wearing pants.
While wearing pants, that's...
Yeah. I feel you're not allowed to wear pants here. Sorry. I don't know what happened to me today. But
Pedro, are you wearing pants right now?
Pants are always optional.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm wearing pants.
Because Pedro's talking a lot about wearing pants. I doubt he's wearing pants, actually.
I'm wearing shorts.
Welcome, Creators Outlet. We've got Creators Outlet here in the house.
What's up, man?
My father-in-law is 100 in September. He's going to outlive us all. Probably. And he probably hasn't eaten kale a day in his life.
Nope.
Hey. I like kale. Especially when it's roasted or baked.
I saw this nutritionist point up. This nutritionist says, all right, so this is what the government says. Steak and eggs are down here on the very bottom of the list of what's healthy. And apparently Cheerios is more healthy than steak and eggs. And so he starts showing that. And he goes, so I tell people this is what you need to do. Whatever the government tells you to do. Like for the nutrition, you follow that to the T, but you just do it in reverse.
Mm-hmm. Dude, somebody told me like Cheerios are healthier than steak and eggs. He's getting slapped.
Right.
Dr. Ben is in the house. Welcome, man. Whoa.
Man, what?
Man, what?
Man, what?
Yeah.
Say what? And what?
Russ Leach says Distillery got me pissed. Absolutely.
Speaking of marketing, I mean,
over there,
it is
pissed
kind of
is something
genius.
completely different than what
It is.
here in the
We've
States.
talked about them 3 times in a row.
Yeah, dude.
Not because we're interested in their work, but because we like making fun of their name.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
well, but I mean, from an SEO standpoint, I mean, you can. It's really easily found via search.
Yeah.
So
If you can sell it.
yeah.
Right, I guess.
And you know, pick on them now before they're not around anymore.
Yeah.
Reminds me of everybody that plays that game where they call everybody sus simply because they can't spell suspicious.
Yeah, Among
Right,
Us.
yeah.
Yeah, Among Us.
Among Us.
Nice.
That's
Among
sus.
They can spell
That's
it.
so sus. Imposter.
Yeah.
And today,
No,
the
it
part
would
of the
be
guilty
body
artist was
snatchers.
played by Pedro.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
That's where you go to market all your new names for all your businesses now, just 3-letter words.
I could feel Pedro's
nobody can spell
sincerity.
anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Dude, the thing is, like, they use me as a flag for all of this. Like, I'm brown, Latino. I live in the tropics in the middle of the jungle. Like, this is all for me.
It's not easy being cheesy.
Yeah, exactly.
No, according
Tell
to
me about it.
nice. Never mind.
Hey, go ahead.
Welcome,
man.
AG Comics. Great to have you here.
I was when you said they use me, I was thinking of like the other they, as in like the
Yeah, like you don't know if I've done it to a lot of days or just one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
That's
but
how
they
confusing it is today.
they would never call you Latino or they would say
Or
Latinx.
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 Like doesn't even exist. Like what?
Well, dude.
Oh, we're talking
So-
about Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So,
Sweet.
will Hollywood's latest
Can't
issue
wait.
cause more trouble for the comic book business? I always like reading Rob's articles because they're so off base in some senses, and then in other cases, I mean, you never know what I'm gonna get. I never know what I'm gonna get with Rob. Like, he's either like dead on, like making great points, or dude, what do you like? Which oligarch are you trying to appease by saying that kind of stuff? You know, like I never really get, but I do
Come to
derive
the article.
enjoyment.
Whose ass are we kissing today?
Yes, but I do derive entertainment from that. Randy, would you help me out by reading this one today?
Last Friday, Variety covered the news that a bunch of studios have opted not to host panels at San Diego Comic-Con this summer under the headline Comic-Con Crisis. Marvel, Netflix, Sony, HBO, and Universal to skip CDCC as Fest faces another existential threat.
Now, this is worth noting that what are most of the people going to San Diego Comic-Con going there for?
Well, they go there to see Marvel, Netflix, Sony, HBO, and Universal.
That's what they're going there for.
Yeah.
Most of those people have never probably cracked open a comic book.
Well, and they kindly waited until all of the tickets were sold out for the show before they announced
that.
they ain't coming.
Oh yeah, imagine all of the people that bought tables, vendors tables, and artist alley tables.
Because San Diego's a madhouse. Anybody who hasn't gone needs to try to go at least once in their life if they're in comics. It's like going to Vegas. You have to go and see the crazy overabundance of how people treat this industry. Because last time I was at San Diego, and this was back in 2003, so it's been 2 decades since I've been in San Diego. I went there as a gopher for Bernie Wrightson. It was 5 aisles deep, 40 aisles wide on the main floor.
I do
That
believe
was
it's bigger than that now.
all hucksters. The artist alley was upstairs along with the halls, the conference halls. And the conference halls were always jammed, always had a line. Literally took you a half an hour to walk from one wall to the other wall in the convention if you didn't stop for anybody. And that's dancing, bobbing and weaving through people. It was an amazing, unbelievable time. But if you want to see the decadence that's in this industry, that's where you go. You have to attend.
Yeah.
Even with this, even with Marvel, Netflix, Sony, HBO, and Universal not going, it's still going to be worth your time to go because of all of the other the guys in comics that have set up there. I mean, all of your professionals are usually there. in
Yeah.
the comic profession.
Can you guys
Despite
help
the fact
my
that
papaya brain
it's a road show now.
for a
Except for
second?
Marvel.
Yeah.
You won't see Marvel there.
Yeah.
Can you guys help my papaya brain for a second?
Sure.
The event is called Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
So now that Hollywood pulled out of Comic-Con, it can be about comics again. So it's basically like a boil bursting. Like this was sickness. And I don't want to say, like, I don't want to put like cosplay into it, because I mean, a lot of people are fans of cosplays and they just like cross-pollinate with comics. But what I see in our attempts at doing Comic Cons down here, they become cosplay cons, and nobody's buying comics. So to me, San Diego Comic Con, it's basically that to the max.
That's what the CC stands for this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Cosplay con.
You know what they say. Yeah, you know what they say.
That's the thing. I think that this
San
is
Diego, Spanish for a whale's vagina.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, that's pretty accurate. Yeah. Mommy, let me have your San Diego. Come on. Yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con Chief Communications and Strategy Officer David Glanzer, in a phone interview Monday, was quick to dismiss any alarmism, noting that studios have skipped the show in years past and Comic-Con rolls merrily along. This year's edition sold out all attendee badges in under an hour. More to the point, he observed that studios have all kinds of reasons for choosing not to participate beyond the uncertainties around the SAG-AFTRA strike, which may be getting resolved soon. The writer's strike, by the way.
Yeah, they should change that name to Film Actors Guild, not Screen Actors Guild.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, a little shout out to Team America World Police there. Nice one, Pedro.
Mm-hmm. Yep. See? Yeah.
Meteam America, World Police.
Yeah.
Team America.
San Diego Comic-Con is the most conspicuous public meeting around a meeting ground between comics and Hollywood. But it is not the only one. Glanzer's observations about factors that may be impacting their choice of whether or not to engage with geek culture's most intense fan gathering may reflect issues that could impact the whole industry. A perfect storm of disruption. The pandemic, obviously, drove a wrecking ball through box office receipts, which have only recently started to bounce back. Longer term,
I can continue.
Thank you.
Longer term, it broke a lot of people's habits of going to see movies in the theater. And at the same time that chains like AMC and Regal are facing economic headwinds, increasing labor costs and rents in urban locations, the closing of a lot of suburban malls and theme stock traders playing havoc with their market valuations. We're all being manipulated. The whole subscription-based side of the streaming business is in retreat after companies overinvested in content. That's overinvested in crap content, he should have said. Anyway, as a way to box out rivals in the space. Now Disney Plus, Paramount, and Peacock are struggling. Max is part of the ongoing Warner Discovery drama. Netflix is making up lost revenue by clawing back shared family accounts, and Amazon Prime Video and Apple TV Plus are betting big on live sports. That's
really, that's the truth. It really is. So Max, probably not going to keep Max. Disney Plus, I'm
already out for Disney Plus.
Paramount is out already. No, we have Paramount. We do not have Peacock. We lost the cock this week.
Yeah, Peacock just changed to a pay service instead of a free service if you have Xfinity. So their numbers are going to drop straight through the floor.
Yep. So we dropped the cock.
Unless they find something to That's what there was a meme passing around. HBO Max is shortened its name to Max. This is your move, Peacock.
Yeah.
Where's
and the thing
where's the bell? Come on, man.
This over investment is stupid. They were just giving money to people who didn't know what they were doing. Agenda.
Disney's done the same thing as Netflix. They're going through and castrating their family sharing rules as well, and making everybody sign and re-sign back up right at the worst time that they possibly could for their numbers.
But this is not a good sign.
Netflix has become notorious for bad programming.
Yeah.
You know, and quite frankly, Paramount, out of all of them, is the only one that has remotely impressed me as far as streaming services go, because Star Trek, no matter what you've heard about it from all of these guys, it was woke when it first started, but it's constantly getting better, which is amazing. Because Strange New Worlds right now has just been a great show, and the last season of Discovery, though you have to suffer through 3 really bad seasons, or pretty bad.
Yeah.
The first one's horrendous. The second and third one, they're catching up, but the 4th season of Discovery was actually really good. But Strange New Worlds, if you like the original Star Trek, Strange New Worlds is actually fun. You have to brain check yourself because there's a Nurse Chapel in it. There's a really young Uhura in it. Captain Pike is in it. There's a lot of tiebacks to the original series. You just have to ignore all that and enjoy it for the show that it is. It's amazing. Plus, they have Yellowstone and the Tyler Sheridan series. And Tyler is a great writer, and he knows what he's doing as long as he's left to his own devices. He is amazing.
100%.
You know, Tulsa King is a phenomenal show until the last episode.
Yeah.
And that last episode, they just went and face planted. I don't know if Stallone decided he didn't want to be in it, or if the writers decided they needed a break or whatever. But they cut an hour-long show down to about 39 minutes, and it's the clunkiest piece of shit you've ever seen. Oh, sorry.
No, but the show is amazing up until that
ever
point.
seen in your life.
Up until that point, that show is amazing, though.
Because it's obvious there's a scene in there where Stallone says, "I'm just going to stand in front of this bar and tell everybody off."
Yeah, exactly.
And then they put the camera on him, and it looks like he ad-libs this great speech about, power of positive thinking. But anyway, Paramount is Paramount Plus, at least, is really good. 1923 is a joy, just phenomenal. You don't see, where else are you going to see Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren acting together, with Helen Mirren with a thick Irish accent? Just amazing.
Nice.
Beautifully done. But anyway, Max, on the other hand, I'll keep Max. I'll watch Disney because it's got Marvel, and some of those old cartoons are still really good.
Helen Mirren, I'll break that hip.
Oh my gosh.
Pedro's got a thing for grannies.
Yeah.
I bet she'd break you first.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'm just saying.
Let's go ahead and start here.
That was no longer so super. As Hollywood faces a reckoning on the whole economic model it has been pursuing for the past decade, it is also seeing erosion in its most bankable genre, franchise superhero blockbusters. The Flash ran straight into a brick wall of audience indifference, garnering a disappointing 55.1 million.
Hold on, did we not expect that with all the problems Ezra Miller caused?
Yeah, dude, like, what do you expect from a women beater lead?
That's a big thing. But the real thing is that they all know the DCU is over because they already made their big marketing advertising about James Gunn. So they're sitting here going, "Do I want to watch this movie? Oh, Michael Keaton's in it. Well, maybe I'll go see it because Michael Keaton's in it."
But then they have this weird, like, superhero, super character, Superman woman. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on with it.
It looks like a super emo chick. It's just
yeah.
It's Supergirl. I understand she's pretty good in the film. Okay. I haven't seen it yet, so
I refuse to see it.
I have no interest in it.
I've heard it's a really good superhero movie. Black Adam was very watchable, but nobody watched it.
Yeah,
I didn't care to watch that one.
Man, you that was actually the nail in the coffin for me. I watched Black Adam, and I was like, okay, that's
they should have done
The Rock wanted that to be. He wanted to be a superhero, not a villain.
Yeah,
dude.
That's The Rock's the worst part of that movie.
Yeah,
but they should have done a Dr. Fate film with Pierce Brosnan. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
Because he was good in that film.
Oh yeah, he was awesome.
I liked him a lot.
That's the best part of that film was Brosnan.
Just imagine like a Justice League Dark with Brosnan and
like John Constantine.
Could have been nice.
That would have been really nice to see. But anyway, so many opportunities blown in Hollywood, like you wouldn't believe. He wants to sit here and complain that the genre is hurting, but really it's the talent in the genre that's crippling it. It's the writing and the directing on these films that are killing these numbers.
It's not even the talent. It's the reason why they're doing these things.
Yeah.
because they're not putting story first. It's just like agenda, and this is what I want to say. I want to stick it to the chuds. If you come with that attitude,
storm of all of really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, or
even the fans, You see
the audience with the
online
most money is the one they want in there the least, which just astonishes the hell out of me. That thinking is just wrong.
It's like a perfect storm. I was saying, like, including the fans. You have comments online where people are saying, like, "Oh, we need to support the movie, just because it will reflect badly in other superhero movies." And like, it's ridiculous. Like, let it stand on its own laurels. If it sucks, it sucks. If it doesn't suck, it doesn't suck.
Well, quite frankly, they shouldn't have done the Flash. They shouldn't have released it after Miller ran into the problems that he ran into. Yeah. They should have bothered to spend the extra time and money that they spent reshooting and reshooting and put Grant Gustin in there. It would have made more money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it would have made a lot more money.
1000%. I'm with you.
Use a few scraps of Ezra, kill him off early, and then have have Grant bump into Ezra and and
what they should have done
continue
is
from
just
there.
Take away the title card Flash and then do Michael Keaton, Batman.
Yeah, dude, they should have recast it.
They should have called it
the Flash.
They should have flat out called it Flashpoint. Is what they should have called it.
Yeah.
I would have recasted the Flash. I mean, even Don DeLuise would have done a better Flash than Ezra Miller. You know what I mean? So just any other actor, like dude, this guy is
Danny DeVito was the Flash.
Peter DeLuise,
Peter DeLuise, yeah.
Peter DeLuise.
Yeah. Peter Fonda as the Flash today would have done a better Flash than probably Ezra Miller.
I haven't watched Shazam. I understand it's watchable. Which
man. Well, the first one was amazing, but because of Black Adam, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch the follow-up.
Well,
I'm done. They can have it.
I'm a big fan of the old Captain Marvel. There's no way they could get even remotely close to what they should have done. But that's a whole nother story. Yeah. Which declined 73% by 15.3 million last weekend. It was almost bad enough to make people forget DC's previous bomb, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which fizzled out after earning 133 million worldwide. Anyone care to venture an over/under on Blue Beetle? I would carry an over/under on Aquaman 2 a lot faster than I would.
Good one, DS4.
Man, I tell you, that was a good. I actually was thoroughly entertained in Aquaman. The very first
Aquaman was cool.
Aquaman was cool.
Dude, Momoa has charisma. That's the thing. Like,
and he does have better Aquaman than the guy that they got to play Submariner. Holy crap, that was embarrassing.
Oh man.
Dom DeLuise again, yeah.
Yeah, Ross is with me. Could you imagine like the Flash singing the French Mistake in the middle of the movie? Back on the bush, hands on the hips, give it a push. Doing the French Mistake. Voila! It would be awesome, dude.
Marvel's latest feature film, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, outperformed many recent Marvel offerings, taking in close to 806 million worldwide so far. And of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has continued to pick up strength, proving audiences will still show up.
Can I read that?
Huh?
Show up for quality and diversity. Good.
Well, still show up for quality and diversity. Oh yeah. Gotta. Here's a yes. G score. I need to kiss. Yeah. But audiences, let's be serious. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a continuation of the previous Spider-Man movie, which everybody wished that they had seen in the theater. If they didn't see it in the theater the first time through, so they had to go see this one.
We're going to touch on that briefly here right after we're done with this one.
Okay.
But there are so that's next, okay? But one of the things that we'll bring up is that it has sparked. You know how there's all these Batman titles in comic books?
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing with Spider-Man right now.
Oh yeah.
They're announcing so many new Spider-Man titles.
Yeah,
and I can't help but think it has something to do with all of the different versions of Spider-Man that are in that movie.
Over at Marvel, there's a big chase on now to see how many times they can mess the character up, to put it politely. Because the Ditko estate is suing for the rights for Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to water down the brand any way they possibly can.
That's
And
why
with
they're trying to
every
make
version of
Miles
Spider-Man-
Morales the Spider-Man.
Oh, he will end up being the Spider-Man here
Mhm.
probably before the end of the decade. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they kill Peter Parker
I'll tell
off
you,
completely.
in the current zeitgeist, I think the quintessential, and it's sad that it's a game, but the quintessential version of Spider-Man, in my opinion, is the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game.
Oh yeah, very good.
That, like, I've played through that. I'm actually thinking of playing through it again because you actually feel like you are Spider-Man as you play it. I don't really, I don't dig on the. There's some other little interludes in there that are just kind of like, I don't want to play this other character. Let me get back to Peter Parker. But for the most part, like, it is so fun to swing around New York City.
It really is. I enjoyed that game quite a bit.
I love it.
I haven't played it. Like I swing all the ways.
The audiences have already.
Ding! I need to get a bell. That's it.
Yeah.
That settles
Yeah.
it.
I really don't like how they're doing the whole Miles Morales thing. Like, even Stan Lee, if you look at his old stuff, he says that Spider-Man is supposed to be, everybody. With, like, Miles Morales, they're really, really pushing it as this guy rather than just anybody, right? You could be your Pedros, you could be your, Randy Zims behind the mask, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
Haven't they seen The Incredibles?
It's just no.
When everybody's super, nobody
is. Yeah. That's true.
Where were we? But audiences have already started grumbling that the latest MCU streamer on Disney Plus, the long-awaited Secret Invasion, starring the formidable Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, requires a PhD in MCU to get through the plotting first episode, and suggests that universe building has its limit as a mechanism for mass audience engagement.
Okay. So I want to say this about MCU and television, okay? There's only one TV show that did it right, and that was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hands down, no, I make no apologies. And that's because they had a genius at the helm, which was Joss Whedon. It's unfortunate that his name has been sullied since then, but, I mean, he actually, like, they didn't hit you with a whole bunch of stuff in the beginning. They just kind of, like, as you went along with these new characters, they gave little things here and there. Same with Netflix, like all the Netflix street hero stuff with Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist. I mean, that's another.
That's the key there on that. They were street level heroes.
Yeah.
Right.
They would those kind of characters. Yeah.
It would fit in little references to Thor or Hulk and stuff, and it was really kind of cool because you could watch the two shows together, right? You could watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you could watch, say, Daredevil, and you felt like they were part of the same universe, even though they were completely different, differently held properties.
It's why the first phase of the MCU was so successful versus currently, and why DC has not been successful at it. They've tried to give too much too fast, and right now that's what they're trying to do with things like this.
Well, so though, the reason why the first MCU was so successful is because they used and went back to the original source material instead of telling everybody not to read the damn thing and just make it up as you go along.
And I would even say, I would say with DC, they kind of jumped the shark in that they tonally had one way of storytelling in the TV shows, starting with Smallville and then going into the Arrowverse and the Flash, and then they move over into the films, which were so stark and just kill everybody, and the only people who don't kill people are superheroes. Oh wait, never mind, the superheroes kill people too. So
that was sniper, though. That was
nice.
I really felt like now I liked Arrow, and I liked Smallville. I really love Smallville.
Yeah.
I have never been a fan of Flash. His superpower is he runs fast. That's a stupid thing to have an entire premise of a story on. He's a complementary character. He's a side character at best, not a main. Yeah. And so it just so when they did the Flash, I dropped out. I'm like, I don't care for the character. Never cared for the character. Yeah. And so he is a vehicle.
The Silver Age stuff, the Infantino.
I did. It's not my favorite. It's not.
Okay.
It just didn't appeal to me. And I think that I'm in the majority of people that you would consider normies. Then like I don't really care about the Flash. Whatever. It's that's a I want to know. I just and I felt like they keep going back to that. It's like with Sony, keep wanting to go back to that Dark Phoenix saga. Stop telling me the Dark Phoenix saga. I did not like that comic book series.
Right.
I am in the I think I'm in the majority of fans. Everyone that sat at my lunch table did not like that storyline. Okay. So I was not alone in that.
Is that what it was?
No, it was stupid and convoluted, and it destroyed a dynamic that we were very, very happy with.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends at the lunch table, we were very happy with the dynamic. We wanted more stories about that. Don't mess up the team. The team is strong. Stop trading away people at the beginning of the new season. I'm tired of rebuilding years. Okay, I want my team, and it just was frustrating to me. It was frustrating to the people that I was in a circle with back then.
Yeah, but I mean,
it
came a time when the X-Men became ridiculous. That they have like 10 new characters every month,
Right.
and you can follow. Like when you get like, this is MAGA. Who? What does he do? Like, wow.
Well, and I was following that speculation, and people started just trying to. They were throwing crap against the walls because they were, and literally it was crap on the wall. And then they also tried to make comic books. And then it was just ridiculous what they were, because they were trying to come up with new things. Like, remember the NFL guy or whatever, All Pro? That was a major fail. But we
that was
saw those.
That was
happening.
a marketing opportunity, like Dazzler is what they were looking at that for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, but we didn't want that. We didn't want those changes.
No,
we didn't want those changes. We wanted, and so they keep going back to the movies, trying to do those things, and we're like, but we didn't like those. Like, we didn't like those, and if we didn't like them, chances are, the generation behind us aren't going to like them either.
Well,
because it wasn't great storytelling.
And I've said it before, but I think if comic books had just sunset the big name heroes to let someone else have the limelight for a while, and then kind of bring them back, and not with some crazy kill them all kind of thing, just kind of like let them go live their life for a little while, and then pick back up with them after a while, and that would reignite people's passions for them. And
like an excellent retirement plan or something,
right? But I'll give you an example. I think whenever it felt like Green Lantern had been sunset, all of a sudden they come back with the rebirth stuff, and man, like that. I just finished reading that series, and then the one after that, and that reignited my love for Green Lantern. So
every once in a while you have to retire something and bring it. Remember when Disney used to retire the movies and bring them out of the vault?
Yeah. Song of the South. I haven't seen that ever again.
And you're not going to, my friend. You're not going to. Oof, that is a big oof. So let me just summarize the rest of the article. Superheroes, yada yada, dead, yada yada, romance novels, yada yada.
I was wondering why the article suddenly took a weird turn and started pushing products here.
Yeah, because that's where it goes. That's
wow.
Yeah.
Native ads.
Native ads. Pretty good.
We're trying to work on. We're trying to reach young girls. That's what they're trying to reach now, and I agree that you should make books for them. You should.
Yeah.
You should make books for them.
Sure.
But the reason why you have to completely abandon one audience and try to go to another, it's because you destroyed your audience. Ripa is proving that there is still an audience for these comic books with his offering. And again, not everyone liked it. Not everyone liked Isom.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
But he's on track to make 2 million. I think my original prediction of around 2 million is going to stand up to be correct. If he would have made more on his opening weekend of launching, like the first 3 days, I think, then he would be on track to make more. Yeah. But it looks like he's stalled out like most campaigns do now. You know, he's still growing every day. He's still getting a few.
Poor guy,
few
only 2
backers,
million.
Yeah, I think 2
How is he
million
gonna
is
go-
where he's going to end up,
How
which
is
is
he
still
gonna
a
cope
really
with
good
that?
place to be.
Yeah.
Well,
We should
So-
start a GoFundMe for Ripa.
So the Spider-Verse beats the Flash. Sony Marvel film dates. Bad Bunny's El Morato is dead. Craven trailer, which was bad.
El Muerto. It's
Muerto.
El
Muerto. So
El,
yeah,
El Mulato would be like a guy who's half white, half black.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I just, is that what that is?
I love that.
Yeah.
Is that politically correct?
Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, down here, yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I
maybe,
mean, El
yeah,
Mulato
not
is
here.
carajo
Yeah, maybe if you're reading like
Sorry.
an old a novel
When you,
from like the 1800s.
when you said it, Pedro,
Yeah.
with the accent,
Yeah.
it reminded me. It sounded a lot more like when my mom said it without the accent,
The Mulato.
and I was like, "Oh, I know what that is.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to say that."
You're not, dude. Down here, like anyone, like if you're a mulatto, you'll be called a mulatto. Like there's no shame in that.
Yeah, it didn't used to be like a bad thing to call people.
Mhm.
That was just describing what they were. That they were,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
your parents were adventurous. Just
you're mixed race. Yeah,
yeah.
and it was like no one. I mean, I mean, growing up, like, I mean, sure, there was probably maybe one or two people that were like, "You gotta stay with your own kind," but we were like, whatever. Like we.
Yeah.
I mean, variety is what makes life
Spice
good.
of life. Yep.
It's a spice of life, and I had crushes on a mini girl, and most of them span the gamut, really.
Nice.
At least I'm pretty sure they were all girls.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Kids
like,
nowadays really
Nowadays?
those are current problems, Luke.
Yeah,
I'm
you
pretty
find
sure
out when it's
you
too
were
late.
good. You were
Like,
so good.
Did you hear about this girl in college? So her college paper was the impact of trans women on women's sports for biological women.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it was
that,
what
that got her into a
impacted
lot
her.
of trouble. Yeah.
Well, she got a 0 because she used the term biological women. She goes, "That's what the paper's about. I mean, how am I? What else?" Well, she goes, "That's exclusionary." That's the whole argument. This is the argument that my hypothesis is there an effect? And right now, me getting a 0 on my paper tells me there's an effect, because
Yeah.
you know it's
I
it's
would
ridiculous.
totally withdraw from that university and go somewhere else.
She triggered her
Here's the thing,
teacher.
like, when
Well,
would
yeah,
be a
good
good
luck
time
trying to
for-
find
like,
another
there's-
place that's better.
There's not going to be
Yeah,
any
dude.
learning
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, dude,
That's
when-
universities in general anymore.
Stu,
When would be a
that's the
good
only
time
way.
for like pitchforks and torches? I'm just saying. 'Cause
She's
this
like,
needs to be
oh,
stopped
what,
somehow.
how much did the university cost?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. Sue.
Yeah,
Randy's gonna fire Luke now
Constitutional
because I don't
rights.
like the Flash.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Get it on paper. Get
Yeah,
it in public.
I never
on that
cared for the
whiskey.
Flash. It just didn't do
We
it
all
for
have
me,
our
man.
likes and dislikes. Doesn't mean I'm gonna.
But wasn't that like
Yeah.
like based on the disco singer? Was it
Dazzler
the-
was either
like
the
the
weakest
disco?
mutant or overpowered, depending on the writer. Yeah,
Dazzler was
Definitely-
Dazzler was
it
really
definitely the
created
sexiest of the time.
because at the time it didn't look like disco was going to be a fad, and they
Mhm.
wanted to try to cash in on it.
It's very
What does
dated.
what does
character.
Dazzler look like again?
She's got a little silver jumpsuit on with a little bit of blue makeup for a mask, and she used to
okay.
ride on
She's a
roller
pop star.
skates, but
So I was
she was
thinking
able to turn
completely
sound
different.
into light, into
Yeah,
solid light.
Have
That
you
used
seen
to be her
Boogie
power.
Nights Whiskey?
No, because like
There you go.
visually in my head, I saw like Bootsy Collins, the superhero.
Oh,
character.
that would have been awesome, but no, it's not.
Kinky
no.
Boots. I like Kinky
No,
Boots.
Bootsy Collins. You know the
That was
the
a
funk
missed
guy with
opportunity
The
on
bass
Bob's
player, the
part.
bass player for Fallen and
Starglasses.
Funkadelic. Yeah, the bass
Nice.
player.
Yeah, exactly. So
Heck
Pedro
yeah.
knows what he's talking about. I have
Heck
newfound respect.
So
Pedro.
here we go. We've got Pixar's Elemental, number 2 movie for the weekend. 18.5 million.
Yep.
Let's not even talk about the fact that The Little Mermaid is probably not going to break even, really.
Well, neither is
or-
Elemental. So
I mean, if Little Mermaid breaks even, I mean, it might have. I haven't seen the last weekend's numbers on it, but it might break even. But it's not going to make money. It's not a cash cow, by any means, like what they thought it was going to be.
it's a
So here's what I wanted to
surprisingly
bring
dark period for Disney because they can't do anything that makes money because they're too busy trying to preach to people instead of entertaining.
I mean,
So
the Little Mermaid is gonna make the same amount of money that Cool Runnings made. Remember, like the Jamaican
Oh,
Bob
nice.
Petty movie?
Yeah.
yeah.
Just kind of
Okay.
like the same money.
So,
So-
here's an
Same movie.
announcement. Spider-Boy to Get is ongoing solo series. Here's another announcement, Spider-Man related. Miles Morales, Moon Knight, and Spider-Man head to Strange Academy. So more Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Here's what I think's funny. Miles Morales and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Actually,
See,
that-
even everyone still considers that he's a Spider-Man, not the Spider-Man.
not these Spider-Man.
But they're definitely trying to. At some point, they're gonna make that
They
switch. I
should have
believe.
just called him Spider Kid, or something else. That's always been my thing.
Yeah.
You're
Spider
you're
Lad.
gonna- Spider Dude. I don't know. Just
All of that
Spider.
would be problematic.
Here's another one.
No, if you call him
Saladin
Spider
Ahmed.
Boy,
Oh,
that
you
would
know
be a
what?
problem.
You know what?
You
They call him
nailed it,
like
Randy.
You
Spider
don't think
Fella.
you need to think about that for a minute, Justin.
Well,
Yeah,
think about this. Think about this. They turned Kid Flash into a black guy on the TV show. So why is that not problematic?
Because his first name was Kid,
Oh,
It was not boy.
not Boy.
So
yeah.
Saladin
Hey, what?
Ahmed, and Juan
Mulatto Spider.
Ferreras, spine-tingling Spider-Man coming to print. So this was a digital comic in which the first appearance of Sleep Stealer. This is coming to print. So here's another spider title that's making its way to, So they are starting to capitalize. I think they're doing the same thing, the same
With Batman.
being very that they do with Batman. Spider-Man's going to be their new cash cow because people are going to see the movie, right? Now, what happens when they screw the movie up so bad? Like once they finally take it away, like these suits at Sony finally take it away, what are they going to do?
I mean, but they're on the right track. Like they came up with an Indian Spider-Man, right?
They've got everybody now, don't they?
Yeah, everybody's a Spider-Man. Like everybody's represented.
They had that
So
one
diversity.
writer have a spider person in a wheelchair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Spider wheels.
I think is a non-binary lesbian spider person in a wheelchair
Oh.
that shoots webs from their
From the crutches.
crutches.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm like, this is.
Next
Ugh.
It's a spider with 4 legs. Watch out!
See, I don't know if anybody's a fan of like the Superior
Sorry.
Spider-Man series, but like that would have been a lot better content for a movie than.
And yet that was really hated when it came out.
Yeah.
That's more
the
slot
neuter-
than anything.
yeah,
It's a slot mess.
Oh, I gotta buy that. I don't want to buy
Gotta
that.
buy that.
So we'll read. We'll just look at Bleeding Fools. I don't want to read their article. I don't want to buy their article.
No.
maybe not a movie, but the comic direction they're going.
Bleeding
in.
Cool wants you to buy an article.
No, not Bleeding Cool. It was
So you tag.
the Daily Beast.
Oh.
Daily Beast did an article, and I'm not registering to that website.
Just serialize
Kinda
it. Can
happy,
you?
guys.
Can you summarize it?
Yeah. So basically, here's what's going on. They talk about marketing and the useful idiot. Okay. And they think that all of this like anti conservative conversation is not a surprise, or it's not unknown to Marvel and DC and these bigger companies, that they're aware of what their freelancers are doing, and with Whisper Networks and the such, and they're considering them useful idiots. That they're they serve a purpose, but it's not really political or ideological that they're using them for. It's to maintain a low page rate, because we all know that the independents are paying way more, and they're paying on time. I released a tweet the other day. I wasn't going to do it, but Critical Blast, you talked me into it. That the last time that I made $25 a page was when I was on their path, the one that I was supposed to be on. And one of the biggest kind of anti-CG voices in the independent movement, one that likes to, name drop me from time to time, and was one of my partners on this. And so I blocked out everything and just kind of showed the $25 page rate with the 33% royalty off the back end of the campaign. And it got a lot of traction very, very quickly. And it really, but that was the last time that I worked for that amount of money. I work for quite a bit more now. And that has all been in this strictly independent field, And so the article summarizes that Marvel and DC know what people like Antos and Brooks are doing, and they're okay with it, because if they demonize and make it a moral issue on whether or not to work for Comicsgate and some of these independent creators that are of more of a independent or right-leaning bent, right? Yep. They make that a moral issue, and it takes away the opportunity to work for these bigger IPs. Then they can maintain their low page rate and their ability to let me pay the rich guy first and not this other person, or not pay people at all. And so they're using that as an opportunity not to have to be competitive with page rates. Because let's say a very talented artist like Graham Nolan says, look, I can work for Ripa and make this much on per page. This is what I can get paid working for him, and you're only offering me this much. You should be more competitive. So if the playing field was even, they could actually leverage their better pay and their faster pay from these independent creators with the mainstream. And so kind of the whole idea of the article is that they've allowed this as kind of a way to a marketing campaign to not use some of these independent people in the conservative field, so that they can maintain these low page rates. I think it's a compelling argument.
Yeah. It's compelling, but you're assuming that these corporations care.
They do care
about no, care about their publishing, because they really don't. All they care about is the IPs and the preservation of that look, so that they can merchandise it in other areas.
They care about their bottom dollar.
Being published. They do to an extent, but then that's been handed down to the editor-in-chiefs of these companies as a just don't lose us any money mandate.
Yeah.
That's what they've been told. And the way that they don't lose them any money is that they've stagnated everybody's wages for the last 30 years.
Yeah. They don't see comics as profit. The big companies don't see comics as
profit. But that's the point they were making. It's stagnated.
This is why the crowdfunding is so hated out there, so vilified, is that there's people out there in these the larger companies, or the people that are becoming companies. They actually care about the talent enough to try to give them as close to a living wage as they can possibly supply.
Yeah, the nerve.
Where these secondary publishers could do the same thing if they wanted to, but they're too busy trying to be hate groups and telling people who they cannot associate with. I don't think it's a Marvel and DC problem at all. I think it's a so-called industry problem on the third and fourth tier publishers, in order for them to try to keep their rates low.
That's fair.
They ain't selling books. Yeah. They ain't selling.
But
they're not interested in preserving that S or that bat in that yellow circle. That's all these corporations care about. They don't care who wears a spider suit or how many people dress up as Spider-Man, as long as they can still control the name Spider-Man and make money leasing it out, franchising it out, or whatever.
Well, then let's call it what it is. We're talking about the Scout Comics. We're talking about the Band of Bards. We're talking about, the IDWs. These people want to maintain their page rates at as low as possible. And if they have to become competitive with the field out there of other companies,
and again, that's
that
only
are actually paying a
people, because the other people get paid professional rates.
The rich people do. The people that are already rich that have influence. Yeah.
It's a lack of respect for anybody working in the field that doesn't already have a name.
Yeah, Tim Ellis says control the page rate and control the money by putting on a morality front with mainstream artists.
Absolutely.
Really, that's what it is. It's because when you start to, it's what we talked about last week with using the term community. What you're trying to do is you're trying to evoke a personal, like a heart response.
Well, you're also trying to control your bucket.
Yeah, you're trying to control your bucket, basically. And if people say, wait, if I leave this bucket, I can go over that one, and there's more room and there's more money, I want that.
They want to not only that, Luke, like,
I can level
the bucket. That's the thing, like, who needs a bucket? You know what I mean?
No one needs a, yeah, exactly. Let's go back out. Let's
Kick
go
the bucket.
Let's go to the sea. Let's go to the ocean.
Kick the
and
bucket.
the truth is,
Kick the bucket.
the truth is there is an ocean of opportunity out there. And that is where marketing comes in. And so I think that we have seen a very successful anti-independent marketing scheme that has been played out against many of us in the independent industry, where it's like, well, no, that's immoral, or it's not real if you have success as an independent creator. One of the things that you will never see on ICV2 or CBR or any of these other so-called mainstream news sites is talking about how Ripa on 2 books, my gosh, he's over $5 million that he has raised in less than a year on 2 books. How is that not front page news on every comic book site?
I mean, you can't even search them. Like, you can go on there right now, search Ripaverse, search ISOM, search any of the keywords to any of his properties, and you will not find the stuff.
They're not talking about him.
Even if you,
and you
I'm
would
sure
think,
if you do a search on the Saska sisters, you'll find their other works, or maybe Chuck Dixon, you'll find his other works, but you won't find any collaboration with him.
Well, you know, so
it shows you how the comics media
works.
It's treating the buckets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're trying to keep order on a system that's changing. They're antiquated.
Well, it also shows that
an antiquated system.
It also shows that the comics news industry is actually part of the marketing tool for the mainstream comic book business.
Mm-hmm.
It's because if they were to cover independent creators and what independent stuff is going on, they might throw them a bone from time to time. But if they actually honestly covered what they're doing, then it would create a competitive nature against the mainstream. And here's the thing. I don't use my platform here to promote my competitors. So the green site and the pink site, I don't like to promote them here because they are my direct competitors for Fund My Comic. It's just how it is, guys. We're not changing that anytime soon. That's why we call them green and pink, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we do that. So we have to understand they're not talking about Ripa because he is their major competitor. He's making more money than them. He's taking all of the fans that they used to have.
Yep.
Right? He is their direct competitor. It's like Jeremy's Razors versus Gillette. It is what it is. And so marketing all plays a tool. They're not going to report on him. We learned this early, like what was it, 2016, 2017, with the Gamergate situation. Yeah. What was happening was these news outlets were giving favorable reviews to games that fans hated.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, why are you saying these good things about it? And they realized it finally got to the fans that these news outlets are being paid by the studios making the games to give favorable media information to. So
well, I don't know, man. Maybe
so what does that mean?
Because I live in a country that has like corruption for breakfast. But I kind of knew that people are getting paid. Like
you knew that, but we're not used to that here in the U.S.
Yeah,
we're used to our corruption being a little more covert.
Subvert, yeah,
subvert, yeah.
There's always that payola scandal back, during rock and roll.
Here it's in your face.
During the 50s and 60s, that kind of thing. Yeah. But a lot of this has all been just people trying to snuggle up to their idea of the upper echelon of publishers too. Marvel and DC's always been put on a high pedestal where their numbers don't deserve that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. The dollar numbers and the sales numbers, they don't deserve that pedestal, but they're still up there because we're still working in they're still working in the old ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But
that's
the
why
thing
comics
that
still look the same way that they are. That's why they're in the same board and back and all
Randy,
of this
the other
stuff.
thing is like in order for
Nobody
a pedestal,
wants to change.
Yeah, but in order for a pedestal to be, I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting sirens now. They're ambulances. There's not police. Don't worry. Maybe an accident. The reason why. Okay, keep talking.
Well,
I
was
was
gonna
actually
say,
thinking. Sorry to interrupt you there, but I was reflecting on
Go
what
right
Randy
ahead.
said earlier about the IPs and stuff. They care more about that than the people. But like, I guess from their perspective, would you say that they think that the IPs are worth more money long term than I guess the caring about the needs of
For them, it is. Yeah. For them, the Underroo contract is a lot more important than what little profit they're going to make off of printed comics.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the more like weird books you put out, that's going to erode your IP. You know,
they don't see it that way.
Eventually,
you'll
like
become irrelevant
30
like
years
Warner
down
Brothers.
the road, that IP could be valuable again.
Yeah,
right?
dude, but the thing is, like, you'll become irrelevant like Bugs Bunny, and you know all the Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
they're an outdated IP because there's no more new product. Like that has a shelf life.
Well, they put that they put that to bed. The Warner Brothers did intentionally.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because the theaters weren't taking cartoons anymore, and the TV market had all these sets of rules that they didn't want to stick by. So, and Hanna-Barbera at that point had already had a big foot in the market. They were pretty much running the market at that point.
Well, you know, that's what made streaming so appealing, is that you could literally do anything you wanted without worry of rule or being put under thumb. Now, Schism here says that, you know, Ripa sold more issues of ISOM than Marvel is selling. But here's the thing. We don't really know how many issues of anything Marvel or DC sells because they stopped reporting those numbers. Now they only tell us what's at the top. They did give us their top 200, you know, or their top 20.
But
and that's what ICV2 reports on.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they never give the number.
That pedestal they're on, it's only relevant if we're surrounding it, if we're listening to them.
It's not how big they are; it's how big everybody else thinks that they are.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, they're talking about the pedestal, but nobody's listening to them. So
it's all been a Wizard of Oz shell game ever since the direct market started. Really.
Yep, 100%.
And the last time, frankly, that I think Marvel actually cared about the industry, about how the marketplace runs, was when they bought Malibu in order to shut them down for the amount of money that they were paying their talent, which was actually a really good living wage with a wonderful percentage on royalties on all of the IPs. That's why you don't see any of the Malibu IPs out there now, even though they came and bought the company, bought all the characters. Killed all the characters and stuck everybody at the old page rates. Because I've got friends that I know have worked for Malibu way back when, and they got their pay. They saw their pay almost cut in half. Once Marvel come in and took over Malibu.
Yeah.
There were a lot of positive reasons
the
for Marvel to do that, and none of them was to gain their IPs. It was to swallow them and to kill them, and to stop them from paying a survivable wage to their talent, because they were really paying their talent well.
Yeah.
Which was driving up Marvel's page rates.
Well, and
having everybody else asking why. That's why they're trying to subdue all of these guys out here crowdfunding. Oh, no, we don't want to pay any attention to them guys because, you know.
Not to mention, you know, Malibu also. Malibu was also for a while there. They were the publisher for Image Comics. So I think Marvel this was kind of like a blow to them too, because that's how Image got off the ground. That deal had
moved on. Image had become its own entity long before they bought Malibu. But Image is a whole nother story. Image taught Marvel and DC not to make superstars out of these people. And they were really making their money. You go back and you look when they were really moving product and making a lot of money. They were turning these characters, these guys, the talent. Not just guys, but the talent into superstars. And that's how you grow fandom, is this transparency. That's why we're as successful as we are now, because people can see us directly and get to know us. And they were turning their talent into personalities. Once they realized that, and they saw where the royalty money was sitting, they knew they'd make more money spinning off on their own. That's why you had Image Comics in the first place.
So Glenn brings up a good question here. He says Malibu didn't have to sell out though, did they?
No.
And I think at that point, if I'm not mistaken, they overextended themselves with advertising for the Ultraverse.
In my opinion, and this is just me having lived through it.
Sure.
There were some people up there at Malibu that just wanted the money. They got a lot of money tossed at them, and they decided to take it and get out. It's not that they weren't successful. It's not that they weren't moving product, because again, these guys were being paid well, and they got a nice royalty chunk off top of that. The higher ups in Malibu saw the figures that they were being offered, decided to take it and leave. And they also didn't care much about the industry. But those same people also killed, for example, Sunrise Distributors that they owned and ended up owning the independent market, probably hundreds of thousands. I know tens of thousands to Arrow Comics that they never bothered to pay. They went off and corrupted Wowio, which was a great digital service that everybody was making a little bit of money off of, and turned that into a studio that turned into Platinum Studios, which also did Men in Black and Cowboys versus Aliens and all of that. Wowio got killed because they wanted everybody to sign contracts giving all the rights to their IPs over to Platinum so that they can take them and exploit them for movies. Everybody pulled their product from Wowio folded. But at that point, we were making some pretty okay money coming. It wasn't huge money, but it was good money coming from Wowio, from people buying, digital files.
No.
That was a nice platform while it lasted. But again, these guys, it's all greed. They're just coming in and taking and, advantage.
Well, they're controlling the marketing tools, right? Yeah. So to kind of bring us back into
the market is now so small is my point. The market is now so small. It's eroded to be so small. The large corporations don't care about the printed book. Most of them up there.
Oh, that's poppycock.
All coming through. No, I'm serious. The majority of those guys are coming through college and marketing, and they believe print is dead. And they can't make digital survive because these crazy retailers are making them charge the same amount for a digital file as they're charging for a comic.
Well, and not to mention,
literally outprice themselves digitally.
I think the digital part too, though, is while there are plenty who have no problem and actually prefer digital, most people still prefer a physical comic in their hands. Just like
I think if they were to compare actual crowdfunded numbers, they would realize that print is not dead.
I'm not saying that
digital is
their perception of it is that print is dead.
Yeah, their perception is. Now, so we just saw that, they're taking webtoons and making them print books now. Obviously, digital is a tool or a way to market to get us into those print avenues.
Again, how long was webtoons out there floundering until they got noticed? Years, decades.
Yeah, because they didn't understand how to market what they were
scrambling around. Everybody has to figure this out. It's all the Wild West.
Yeah, but Randy, you have to understand that Webtoons is a Korean company, and they were doing really well in Korea before coming to the West.
That's a whole different.
They're very successful.
A whole different place in the world. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And the thing is, like their system, even though it used investment capital, companies in Korea fall under a system called family business or family corporation, in which if you're a family that you demonstrate to the government that you're going to have a legacy, they'll dump all the money on you. And that's what Webtoons did. So basically, they're very solid in that sense.
Again, it's the perception of how the art form is anywhere but here.
Yeah.
In the States, in Canada, even a little bit in Canada, not as much as it is here in the States, we're still kiddie literature. And we're still looked down upon, despite the fact that now with all of these idiots writing these horrible movies up there at Marvel and DC, it's going to be looked at as a phenomenon. So in a couple of years, they'll still just dismiss comics as kiddie literature.
Dude, are you kidding me? Down
For the
here,
most part.
it's looked as book for crazy people.
Yeah.
That's how
All
they
right,
look down
so-
here. So
I don't know if any of you have
Yes.
actually taken any marketing courses or not. Like, I've had collegiate
level.
courses on marketing. Marketing's simple, guys. It's the activity. Okay, so if you look at the dictionary definition, it's the activity of business, of promoting and selling product or service, and the only way to do that is to create the perception that it's either needed or that it's something that you should want, right? Stan Lee was great at this. He was able to connect with fans, and he made what he was selling important to people. The problem is we've got too many people bitching about people not caring instead of going out and making people care. And they're like, oh, well, people don't care about my book. That's why it didn't fund. Well, did you do anything to go out and make people care about it? Right? The reason why Fund My Comic is doing so well is because I went out and I made a few people care about it. Now, those people are going out and making more people care about it, and so on and so forth. You have to understand that what you're doing has a value. You have to treat it with value, and then you have to communicate that value. Really, it's when you start breaking it down to that, it's how do I make you care about my work? And if I don't care about my work, you're not going to care about my work. You can have the best thing on the planet, but if you don't care enough about it to tell me about it, then I'm not going to know.
Right.
You know, it's let's imagine Jesus' disciples, didn't care enough to talk about what Jesus did. Imagine all the people that he healed didn't care enough to talk about, oh, this guy can heal you or whatever. If all the people that encountered Jesus didn't care enough to tell someone, there wouldn't be a Christian religion. It wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be
have a calendar. We wouldn't have a calendar based on his date of birth.
There'd be a lot more hungry lions, that's for sure.
Yeah, there'd be a lot more hungry lions out there.
Yep.
And even in the sight of the anti-marketing that goes on for Christianity, sure, these 12 disciples thought, you know what, I know how I'm going to get famous. I'm going to make up this story about this guy, and then we're going to get killed. That's going to be great. Let's do that, guys. Yeah, so I mean,
that focus group.
yeah, even in the light, so a movement can grow or a product can grow, even in the light of negative press, right? We see this all the time. The anti-marketing that's out there, and we see anti-marketing on our side of the industry a lot.
Yeah.
But we can combat that by taking what these marketing geniuses have done. They have created the news outlets, right? They control the news outlets. They control the avenues by which to sell, and they control the avenues by which to distribute, right? So what we have to do is we have to create the avenues by which to communicate what we're doing and what we're selling. The only way that we can do that is to rally behind the ones that are doing that. Bleeding Fool is out there doing that. We've got the Splintering that's out there doing that. They should have more subs than what they've currently got. The YouTubers that dedicate themselves to promoting independent crowdfunded books, we should all be getting behind them and promoting them. Now, the unfortunate thing is we've had some people in the past we did that to, and as soon as they got to a certain notoriety, they dropped the promotion and they saw the dollar signs that they could get by monetizing their channel. So you're going to run the risk of people that want to try to leave the fold of what we're trying to do, our marketing plans, to go market something else for more money. You're always going to see that. But we kind of have to focus in on finding those outlets. So we have to find our outlets to be able to promote our stuff. Who's talking about Ripaverse? Whoever's talking about Ripaverse is who we need to be promoting all of our new campaigns to.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that are mentioning real makers in in the movement, right? Or in the industry. So those are the people that I'm going to start pursuing for writing up articles about Arrow Comics and Iron Age distribution and Fund My Comic and things like that.
Yeah.
Because those are the areas that...
There's another point you're not touching, Lou. It's the fact that right now journalism is in crisis. I mean, and I heard this from Clownfish, so I don't want to say like I'm a scholar. I'm just repeating what I heard in Clownfish. But dude, there's an ad rate crisis coming to all these websites that have basically been doing whiny reporting. You know, just whining. Why don't you buy my book? Oh my God, the representation, like all that. Those guys are not going to get paid anymore, or they're going to be replaced by AI.
Right.
So
right. Skizza makes a great point here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, his point is you if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Can get you 1 million articles written about you, but the response is failed industry. That's very true. And the problem is because people don't realize where the fans are going, right? They're not in touch with the fans. So part of making, like, look, you might care really a lot about what you're working on, but if the fans don't, then you might need to just shelf it for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's a hard reality about marketing. You can market your book really, really well, but if the fans don't respond, maybe it's not the project for right now. Maybe it's not today's work. Maybe it's something else that you need to work on. I mean, that happens all the time, really. And we see big studios do that very quickly. The problem is they don't understand they don't really understand what the fans want because they're not listening. They're selling to their peers or other industry. They're selling to stores. They're not selling to actual fans. Stores for a while didn't listen to the people that walked through the door. I used to have a couple stores that I would go to that they treated me like I was an idiot walking in there. And I'm like, you realize I'm your customer. I'm the one that's going to give you money. Why are you treating me like I'm some kind of,
because they grew up watching the
whatever.
That was a thought train that was brought on by Diamond, quite frankly, and their so-called exclusives, because they told the retailers, you don't want anything in that green section. You want our exclusive guys because they do the products that sell. And the retailers who were their real customers, they were the person, that's the end line for the money. That all the stuff that the retailers buy, they can't return, not from Diamond or even now Luna or whoever else. That's their customer. The retailers were all programmed that those guys in the green sections are all just horrible second-class comics. So when we were doing Arrow Comics back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we quickly learned we were a pulls-only company because we were in that green section. The only way we sold any comics, the only way we got an invoice from Diamond is that retailers already had our comic pre-sold to their customer. They weren't going to put us on the shelf. They were going to put us on a pull list in somebody's pull box for them to come in and buy when they walk through the door. Nobody outside of the people who picked up previews ever saw our product. And it's been that mindset since the 80s. And everybody, this entire industry really has been programmed down to the set of blinders that's so irritating that we're slowly starting to crawl out of now because of crowdfunding.
Yep. Yeah, that's the other thing. When you're creating that value, you had to create the value with the customer. And then the customer creates the value with the shop and so on and so forth, right?
Well, the shop's stuck too because they're ordering everything 3 months in advance. So they have to really guess what the fad's going to be 3 months from now. 3 issues.
Now, how much harder was it to try to market in the 80s than it is today? I mean, we have the internet now.
It was crazy. All you had was previews and Comics Buyer's Guide, maybe 1 or 2 trade publications. That was it.
Not only can we be sitting here on a panel with people from all over the country, native to the country, the world, and right now we have people from all over the world in the chat, listening to what we're saying right now about this very topic. We have the greatest marketing power that any generation has ever seen. We have the internet. And the thing is, we have to try to find a way to cut through because with the internet created an abundance of noise. Now we have many outlets. So the truth is, you find out what are the fans wanting, where are the fans at, actually. Where do they congregate? If you find a show that's very successful, then what you do, you go on that show.
Yeah.
Or you ask them, hey, what would it cost me to pay for advertising so that you bring up my product and what I'm working on? Mm-hmm. You know, so you have to start thinking out of the box in that sense, but you also have to be proactive. It really comes down a lot, I think, to that you got to tell people about what you're doing and why it's important, why they should care. If they don't care, and if you can't tell them why they should care, they're never going to. It's kind of a simple point to crowdfund. I mean, to marketing your own books, I think. But that leads me into kind of our final bit of discussion that I wanted to bring up today, is really finding a niche. You know, I find that there's a lot of I'm the only one on camera right now. It's funny. I find that the only that
sorry.
I find that the that we kind of spray and pray method. You guys know what this is? It's where you just take a bunch of shots and you hope something lands.
Yeah, that's how we spread the seed as a species. So it makes sense. we spray and hope.
We use the spray and pray method. And the problem that I find with the spray and pray method is that we never, as independent businesses, we don't have the resources to invest enough in all of those little shots to find out which one's actually going to work. Because we don't have a solid marketing plan. We don't have a solid method of distribution. We don't have a solid method of communicating to our fans or of finding new fans. We haven't really thought those things through too much. And so what I find that we that really kind of keeps us from being successful is not finding that groove that we can get into. Like this is what you do and this is what you do and those kind of things. So on a more personal business level, like getting into comics, I looked around at the field and I saw that there were so many cover artists and so many pinup artists. Like everybody was doing it, right? So I was like, if I'm going to be successful, I've got to find something that nobody else is doing. So my focus became sequential art. I studied it. I researched it. I made everything I did about it. Most of the jobs that I take, like I would refuse some jobs just so that I could work on a lower paying sequential work, because I knew once I got good enough at it, that would be my bread and butter, because there's not a lot of sequential artists out there. There's just not a lot of people doing it. And the ones that are doing it and doing it well are making really good money. So that became my niche, the thing that I was wanting to get into. You know, in the 80s, Arrow Comics was black and white comics, right? Mm-hmm. Like that was your niche. That was the thing.
80s, 90s, 2000s, yeah.
How many other companies were doing that back then?
Oh, there were a ton. Back in the 80s, there was a huge boom, especially once Turtles came out. Everybody wanted to be the next Eastman and Laird, so they were kicking all sorts of stuff out, every direction, every genre you could imagine.
Well, why is it that Marvel? I mean, why is it that these other companies didn't make it, but yet Arrow Comics is still going?
Well, we're tenacious, and we're willing. We're doing it for the love of it. And if we actually went by money, and we had an official office and paid a staff and all of that, we wouldn't have made it very far. But the thing is, once in the 80s, we were booming, we were rolling real hot. There were a couple of folks that came in and tried to corrupt the black and white market. You had people kicking out just lousy comics, any excuse that they could, and charging the highest price that they possibly could for it. And it was straining the retailers money, because again, these retailers are buying things 3 months in advance. So all you had to do, Arrow ran a test one time. We took out a full page ad, which at the time wasn't that much, in Diamond. I think it was Capital and Diamond at the time, because there were still a number of distributors left. We made up a fake company, and we created books literally on the fly and stuck them out there for $2.95. And the numbers that came in, we would have pulled out a profit if we had printed them, but not a big profit. So we didn't do it.
What? What kind of lover am? What?
What?
No, sorry. Just reading the chat.
Oh, okay.
They're
But
asking you
anyway, there was so much money in that market. All of that money was the retailers betting 3 months in advance on where the next Turtles was going to be. You got a couple of corrupt guys in there doing lousy, like the generic comic or the Samurai Santa, and they're just goofy stuff like that. And these retailers went in. No, seriously, that was the title. I think that's where Jim Lee got his start, actually. But all these retailers were trying to guess 3 months in advance, and that put a strain on their wallet. And then Image happened. And once Image happened, all of that retailer disposable income was gone because they went right to the collector, and in order to get the next Brigade or the next Youngblood or the next Wildcat or whatever. And so that caused those two factors caused the black and white bust. And probably more like 9/10 of those titles just collapsed and went into went into non-existence. So there are so many great properties out there by people who haven't revisited them or gone back to them, or ElfQuest, Cerebus survived, Arrow Comics survived, Antarctic survived. Only a handful of us survived that catastrophe. We did it because we were tenacious. Ben Dunn did it the same way because he was sticking out anything that he could for Antarctic Press and has stayed alive this long. And Cerebus,
and a lot of it is
Love and Rockets. That's Fantagraphics. They were able to stick around and do a lot of stuff. But
I think staying adaptable, no physical office.
Yeah.
Not doing the being that way, which is what Arrow is now. No physical office. It's adaptable.
Yeah.
In the late 80s, Arrow took a huge hit, and I mean, it killed the company, the first version of it, because a lot of these distributors decided that we weren't going to pay them. And granted, Ralph and Stu didn't stay on top of things business-wise because they were just guys. Every Friday was a pizza party. Everybody got together. It was just a fun time and a fun thing to do. As funny
fraternity,
yeah. So Glenwood gets $60,000 in arrears to us, and suddenly goes bankrupt. We're stuck. Wow. Sunrise Distributors owes $20,000, and then they decide they're going to just shut down and file for bankruptcy. They're stuck. That money didn't come our way. There's a good 120,000 easy because they didn't stay on top of the accounting. Ralph and Stu, and they knew that, and they felt bad about it. That's why they gave the property of the Realm over to Guy Davis, gave the property of Dead World over to Vince, even though they had literally created the titles, and the Guy and Vince were the visualists on both of those books. They were able to turn that around. Caliber, sorry, we're constructing. They were able to turn that around to Caliber for a little bit of money so that they could survive for a while. That Gary Reed paid them. That's why the Realm and Dead World are still Caliber titles to this day. But for the most part, when that black and white bust happened, everybody got crippled, and everybody just shut down.
Yeah.
There are a few people out there that still had to do it because, like me, it gets in your blood. And you don't want to stop. You always want to be telling stories. You always you love this business so much, but you can't work for Marvel and DC because you would have these big corporate bosses that you had to be responsible to, and you wanted to do your own stuff, tell your own stories. That's why we're independent, small press comics.
You hip hop till you drop and you don't stop.
That's it.
So where to do it?
Just like Randy with that monologue. But I mean, that was like an education on its own, though. So
you're saying I'm long-winded?
Yeah, I like it. Long-winded in a good way.
That was a quick history lesson. I'm making a book. Yeah. I hope you'll come in on it one of these days. As soon as I crowdfund it.
I'm just sitting there.
I mean, right now my business niche is offering a home for people that get banned everywhere else. Yeah. That's kind of my thing. Right now it's like, oh well. People are interested in backing and supporting that project, but nobody else wants to. My daughter's dog is.
You still need a place to be proven and to market for people who want your book to buy your book, even though the big guys, Big Brother, or whoever you want to blame it on, don't want you to see that product. There's still going to, if an artist is out there that wants to do it and wants to show it to you, there needs to be a place where folks can go to buy that.
But there's a point. There's a point Randy's not making right now.
Yeah.
Where's Kelsey?
Kelsey is, Kelsey's probably still asleep. I don't know.
It's all good. It's all good.
I don't know. Yeah, so we'll try Kelsey again. We'll try Kelsey again some other day. So
he keeps artist hours. He's up when he's awake.
Yeah, he does.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
he's up when he's awake. I love it.
That's it. That's it exactly. You're up when you're, you know, if you're awake at noon, you're up. Yeah.
We're gonna get ready to start actually cutting this thing down a little bit
mojo.
and closing things down. But I want to make this point. So you mentioned that what really killed the black and white movement and the niche that you guys had was the speculation of what was going to be good 3 months out because of the ever fluctuating market and what people were interested in.
You can't blame the retailers for working in the system, though. It's the people that were abusing the system on the retailers that killed it.
Exactly.
These retailers had to guess: is Samurai Santa going to sell? You don't know. You get it in, and it's the worst piece of trash you've ever seen in your life.
You know, I wish we had a little more time today because I'd really like to touch back on what Pedro was saying about the AI and the replacing the journalists, journalists, as well as like you see it like on social media. You got like AI. Someone like will post a meme about the AI art of like Elon Musk with millions of likes, and then someone will put a counter meme about, you know, AI is, you know, theft or whatever, and that's only got like 160 likes or whatever. So it's like it's a terrifying time as a independent. As
we also have to remember though, likes don't equate dollars. That's the other thing. We spend a lot of time focusing on social media engagement or likes and things like that, but those don't always generate dollars. And that's why I think, you know, seeing the Comicsgate guys get out at a convention and spend time with fans face to face, I think was a big deal, because getting out and actually spending time with people, I think that was what generates more dollars than social media. Because social media, everyone's just playing a part. They're playing a role, a version of themselves on there, and so it's very fake. It's very not normal. But
there's also another point, man. That okay, so mainstream might go all AI, and we get AI entertainment, and that's what we'll see like everywhere.
You're already getting it. You just don't realize
exactly. As an artist, my goal is to make 10,000 people happy around the world.
Yeah,
exactly.
It takes a lot of work, but if I make 10,000 people happy, I'm making $1 million per campaign, and I'm living a great life. I don't need to be at the top of everybody. 100%. That's an empty pursuit. There's for you to brag to others.
There's a reason if you're reading a Marvel and DC book and the plot seems trite and the dialogue is cardboard, it's probably off of an AI program.
Yeah.
That somebody typed in the boundaries for it, took the script, just double checked it, maybe if even that, and sent it to the editor.
Yep. 9
times I would say that there's a lot larger percentage of AI writing going on at the big two than what anybody realizes at this point. So Luke just read a Spider-Man script a couple of weeks ago that he typed into chat, whatever, EPG, and it turned out to be almost a better plot than what you're getting now in a regular mainstream comic.
Nice.
You know, don't tell me that they're not out there already using or haven't been using those programs for like the last 3 to 5 years. As soon as they were created, somebody's going to abuse it. That's just normal rules.
What concerns me is is if you get an oversaturation of stuff in the market, like, you know, bad articles, and we don't have journalists anymore, or we don't have people promoting stuff. And even if you do have people promoting stuff, suddenly you have like a din of nonsense to get through to get to the point. And then the art is like, as people might disagree, but to some extent, these models will improve over time. These AI programs will get better, exponentially better as new, you know, stuff comes out. So eventually you're not going to be able to tell the difference between, they'll pass the Turing test every time. And it might be more creative, and maybe the next generation is more creative and more creative. We're eventually going to hit a wall of like oversaturation of some kind. And so I'm just curious, like, Is anybody thinking about that, or is there a way
Okay,
around that?
Whiskey. The thing is, like, I don't know. Maybe the fact that I read Dune so many years ago gave me solace. Is within Dune, there's this thing called the Butlerian Jihad, where humanity rose up against thinking machines, and they turned it into a war. But the way I interpret it is like, dude, we have to focus on expanding the human mind more so than using tools to make us lazy.
Yeah.
So what we need to do in our marketing is to not educate, because that would put us above us, but just let the consumer know, like, dude, this comes from a human. This is my story from me to you.
Yep. 100%.
More so that the art is perfect, more so than anything, you're talking with somebody.
Yep.
And that's where part of our marketing.
It's where the words alternative
heart,
and independent come in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I did want to bring up. I tried to get to it earlier, and we got off a little bit.
Yeah.
Randy, you mentioned that it was trying to predict what was going to be popular 3 months out before anyone had seen it is what killed the black and white movement. Black and white is not dead, by the way, as one of the chatters has said. It is doing quite well.
I didn't mean to give that impression. But if you're not aware of Xeno Zero, or if you're not aware of Galaxian, there's so many great titles. That's why I tell everybody to go and look through those boxes at the Sunrunners. Is another great example. Go through at Southern Nights is another example. You go through and dig up those boxes that the retailer has. There's a lot of gold that's been sitting there for decades, just gathering dust of great black and white books. Very imaginative, very you want to talk about diversity and inclusion. There you go. Look at the 80s black and white.
Yeah.
Lander. I like Lander.
Inclusion, yeah.
But the shortcomings of that model that caused that bust, I think, is why reversing that model will work for retailers. Crowdfunding now has given a proof of concept to many of these books to show whether or not they will be successful with a larger crowd. Right?
Yeah.
So if they've been successful to raise X amount of dollars with this many backers, some of them up into the thousands of people, right? So if they've already been that successful, then you having a version of that book on your shelf has already proven that it could be successful to your business. That it could be, so you're not taking a chance on that book like you would have been in the old model, where here comes a book in previews and you have no idea if the fans are going to like it. You already know that there's a large section of fans that already like it. And guess what? Probably some of those people that go to your shop every week that have a pull do not know about this book or have not bought this book yet. Maybe one or two have. But if they have, then they can promote that book to your other customers.
We should make that part of the marketing. Like, hey, this IP raised X amount of money on crowdfunding. You know what I mean?
Oh, trust me, it is.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
the core. That's at the core of our marketing for the retailers. So as Phil Avelli, my partner in that, and I are working together, that is at the core of our marketing. Is that piece right there? That these are successful books that you're not taking a chance on. You are taking advantage of. So you're taking advantage, not taking a chance on. And again, you create the value. You explain why it's important, why it's of value. Otherwise, I'm just like, hey, I've got independent books. Do you want to buy some? No, independent books don't normally do well. Nobody knows anything about them.
Like, I hate that marketing.
Yeah.
Please help
it's
me.
Like, no. It's like, no, the marketing here is let me help you because these books are already successful.
Right.
When I go to sell any one of the Arrow properties into a location somewhere, I'll easily go to previous campaigns and say, this many people have bought this book already. I've raised this much money. We are this far into this title. And if you put it in your store and you allow me a premium space, I guarantee people are going to want to buy this book. And I'm going to give it to you at 50% the cover price, so you're making money. No, you cannot return it. No, I will not do consignment. I'm a legitimate business. Because here's the thing. I think that if you allow consignment, you're delegitimizing your own business. If you say, we'll do consignment. Because that means that... Yeah, it's like, no. Our business transactions here, you're going to make money on this book. I'll let you just buy 3 copies. But you'll probably be calling me back for more. But if all you do is put those 3 copies out and you only ever sell those 3 copies, that's because you were dumb enough not to reorder from me. I've actually said that to someone and gotten a reorder.
Nice.
I went in, I said, hey, how'd those books do? Oh, well, they sold really quick. I'm like, okay, then why didn't you reorder? Well, I didn't know if they'd sell again. Well, did they not sell really fast already? You just told me they did. Yeah? Then why are you sleeping on money? I'm telling you, you buy more books from me, you put them on there, they're going to buy them. These books are evergreen. I mean, they're always going to sell off the shelf as new people discover them. If they weren't, I wouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to market yourself as such. People's like, well, Luke, why is your current campaign only sitting at just over $2,000 and not sitting at $2,500 like you asked? Why is it not making $10,000, $14,000? Because I'm not marketing it.
Yep.
I've not marketed this new book in the fashion that I need to. The first thing that I did is I didn't realize where my niche was. My niche is in comic books. And I tried to market this as an RPG with a comic book instead of a comic book with an RPG. I failed big time because I have no connections in the tabletop RPG community at all.
Yeah.
And I failed. I failed.
There's a big difference between
book.
failing and making the wrong turn, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just failed. I failed. It wasn't a wrong turn. It's going to be successful once I figure out how to sell it. It's
there. You go.
You know,
it's a fragile community.
It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be afraid of the word failing.
If you're learning, you're not failing.
Yeah, as long as you stand up and try again.
Yep.
You're good.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah. So guess what we're doing? That we've got 15 days left, or I think 12 days left on this campaign on Fund My Comic.
Yeah.
Maybe I should show it. Maybe I should show it since Kelsey didn't show up. Sure. Here, I will show that, and then we're going to end off. We are going to end the stream in 10 minutes. Okay, because I have to get work done today. Oh, so Kelsey was supposed to be here. We were going to show off Kelsey's campaign. There's no video on this. If you need to find your niche, and your niche needs to be sequential art, buy this book. That's all I'm going to put it down as. Buy this book. He's adding commentary on what was going through his mind as he made this. This is all his layouts and his storytelling techniques for a sequential artist. Mm-hmm. This is a sequential artist dream, okay? $30 for this book. That's all. It's 200 pages. Nice. $30 of a master class of what was Kelsey Shanon thinking. Anybody that's seen Kelsey's work knows that Kelsey is a fantastic, top-notch artist. He's worked for Marvel and DC, been in the industry for 30 years. You can't go wrong with this. Get over there. He's already raised, what, 13,000?
Is there a digital version?
14,000 he's raised. What's that?
Digital version is that there as well?
No digital version. It's only going to be in print. You're not going to want this in digital. You're going to want this in print.
Put that on your shelf.
Yeah, this is something you're going to keep forever because once it's done here, it's done. This is the only place you're going to get it. This is the only place. Fund My Comic. He's exclusive to Fund My Comic. Putting his money where his mouth is and where his values are. Knowing that we need to build alternate methods and alternate platforms in order to sell so that we can't be gatekept, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's what we're doing here. This book, you got to get it. It's simple, but look, I mean, you get a few samples of what he's done here. Masterful work when it comes to sequential storytelling and page layouts. Mm-hmm. I study his work. I study his work a lot. I love the kind of like faux askew kind of look, which is one of the things that I've kind of picked up on and done lately. And then he's just boobs. I mean, he's just good. Boobs. I mean, look at that. That's Anna the Star Wars girl. Look how well that's done. And he's got a really fun T-shirt in there from his appearance on the Jack Show. And he's going to be adding new art soon, new original art. So definitely check that out. Okay.
Look at that, dude.
So I've worked on selling Kelsey's book I'm going to sell. Look at that. He is almost tied with Bronze Star over here. Way to
another
go,
great
man.
product. Yeah.
Dude, I like that Fund My Comic is getting the numbers now. Like we haven't had like a 6-figure campaign yet, but that's coming.
It's coming.
It's happen this year. Yeah.
Yep. Definitely within the next couple of months.
I got to find out why there are books that are on the featured tier. Oh, these must be picks. We're starting to do the buy one back one kind of mentality where, hey, we think this book is pretty cool. Why don't you check this out? So we'll stick it up here in the list with other things so that you can take a look at it. And so, yeah, we're starting to promote things that way. Where is my book?
There's AR-13L sitting there.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go.
Back that
So
book.
13 days. I got 13 days left on this. What's going to happen on this campaign is after the 13 days is up, man, my internet is so bad right now because of the storms. It's always bad, but it's worse right now than what it normally is because of the storms. So what's happening here is all of the game material, all of it, it is getting vaulted until further notice.
Okay.
That further notice is when I can learn and build the connections that I need to market a game better. Okay? That could be 6 months. It could be 6 years.
Cool.
It's going to be shelved, okay, until I figure it out. And then once I've figured that out and there is now a demand, so everybody that backs the book right now is going to get the RPG. When they back it, everybody that's backed it so far is going to get it. All right? After that, nobody else will be able to get it. It's not going to be available.
Sweet.
It's nowhere, right? Because those people can then talk about that book. They can then start to build. I could start to build connections with people in that. But we're gonna take what few copies I have on hand. We're going to do play tests at conventions with it. We're going to get in there. We're going to have people actually play the game, and then when there is a demand, and I have learned the audience enough to be able to give them what they want, we will open the vault and we will have another one-time campaign for it. Cool. That's what we're going to do. So if you want the game before that happens, you got to get it now. You got 13 days to get it done. Otherwise, we print what we've ordered and that's it. I'll send a couple extra copies over to Nick and I'll have a couple copies and that'll be it. Like I'm not devaluing this project because it's better than that. Mm-hmm. This is simply one of the best crowdfunding, role-playing games that you're going to play. It is great. The book itself, the double feature that we got here, the Killing Field Saga, it is one of the best stories you're going to read. I'm not trying to be arrogant about that.
It is,
but
I can attest to that. I've read it. It's great.
It is. I've poured everything that I've had into this series so far. It is going to be one of the best things that you're going to read in comic books right now.
It's 100%.
I should be working for one of these big companies. I can make them money.
No,
I can make them money.
No, you don't.
I need to make my own money. I can keep 90% of the royalties instead of the the crappy
crumbs.
5% if that. 33%. So anyway, yeah. So definitely check out those two books. That's what we got going on Fun My Comic. We've also got The Fool, which is a highly anticipated book. But I want to bring up one other book that is not on this list here today, but you do have to go to Arrow Comics.store.
In the meantime, let's bacon wrap this bad boy and make that bird dance. At least get a backer or 3 or 5. 10.
Yeah, get a backer.
Everybody in the chat.
But yeah, we're going to close this in 3.
I'm ready.
We're gonna close this in 3 minutes. So, ArrowComics.store. Man, I apologize for my internet. My goodness.
Grind it.
I want to show off this. So someone asked the question, what was the last book you read that made you audibly gasp?
Oh.
And I want to show you this book. I want to show you the book that made me audibly gasp.
Either one of them Spank the Monkey books, isn't it?
This book right here called Paragon. No, it's Paragon.
Love it.
I read Paragon and the twist at the end made me absolutely gasp. Okay. If this book is $5 for physical, $3 for digital. It's available on the ArrowComics.store website. This is the Arrow Comics storefront. It will be available on Amazon soon, so it's going to be moving over there as well. But we prefer that you buy it here.
Yes.
We prefer you buy it here.
This is superheroics as I see they should be. You're going to start a world. You start with a Superman. This is Paragon. For some reason, they're faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Oh, you mean like the 1930s Superman?
Oh, maybe
a little bit.
But this is what I would do if I was allowed to do. I think Superman in the modern era. It's fun. Yep. It's got a great bit of conversation. I don't want to give it away. It's got a great twist ending that I'm super proud of. I can't tell you how much I love this book. It fits in the same universe as The Fool. In fact, one of the detectives that's in The Fool, it figures into the back of this book.
Nice.
And it's a lot of fun.
So Justin was there when I read this book.
Yeah.
We were all at a convention. Randy
all
handed
at
me,
a
said,
show.
"Have you read this one yet?" I said, "No, I haven't." He handed me Paragon. I'm sitting there and I'm reading it. We're all sitting there, and I go, "What?" I was like, "Randy, this is so good. Like, this is so good, man." And I was just floored by how entertaining that book was. It was a quick read, and I'm like, this book is only $5, and people are stealing it from us at
It's a
Arrow
nice
Comics.
self-contained story.
But when you buy
I
that
can't
book,
recommend
that
it
money
enough.
goes to. Yep.
The
When you
artwork
back
on that is
money goes to
J.R.
Randy.
Harris, who's done a lot of other things. And if you've seen some of the stories in the back of the Arrow Comics that features Ginger Star, that he did the artwork for that as well.
Ginger Star? Yeah, bringing Ginger's back.
I got to tell you to
Ginger
check
Star,
that out.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, definitely go buy that, and then
That's
and
really
then
the cover
you got to
of
go back
Revolt.
over.
Can't
to
tell
Fun
you
My
how
Comic
much
and
I
Pedro.
love the story. Can't wait to show you issue 2.
Yeah.
because the Fool connects to it. We currently are it's in demand over here or continuous on my comic. You can get the Fool. We're getting ready to send that off to print soon, and so we'll be shipping out those books to you very soon.
Print file on that is 99.5% done. It just needs one or two little small touches, and it's out of here. Seriously.
Yep. And then we send it off to the printer, and then that will get shipped out, and we will be fulfilling that one very soon. So it's done quite well. It did what it needed to do to cover the print run, but you guys need to check that book out.
I'm happy with it. This is and again, this fits in. The farther along, I've got a couple other books that will be campaigning here in the near future that all fit in to one nice little universe. So it's a lot of little self-contained introductions to different characters that I want to do, that I've got a lot of stories to tell with, and I can't wait for you to read it. Okay. And on that note, I need to run.
Yeah, Randy's going to go check out aerocomics.store, buy his. I'm going to play this trailer, and then we're going to end. This trailer's the work of Pedro Ang, who has found his niche in comic books as an animator who does trailers and stuff. Randy, thanks for joining us today.
All right, we'll see everybody soon.
Your expertise is always appreciated.
You know how I love to talk. Thanks again. We'll see you.
I love it, man. All right. So this is a little bit of Pedro Ang's work here.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know our enemy. We've seen behind the curtain. And they have a weakness. An Achilles heel. They are arrogant and completely underestimate what they are up against. They forget who the game master is. They forget how wise this old demon can be. So, let's see who among them survives this killing field.
Nice little tease there at the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Good
issue
job on
number
that trailer,
9.
man.
That talk about a gasp. That issue 9, man, it really floored me.
Yeah, dude.
From
The way I
cover
see
to
it,
cover,
guys,
bro.
the
Cover to
way
cover.
the way I see it, guys, we're all looking for gold, but to look for gold, you need a shovel and equipment. Let me be the guy that helps you with that equipment, with your trailer.
Will you help me with my equipment, Pedro?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my!
I will. I will, because I have no shame, sir.
New comic book launching on Fun My Comic this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be launching from Bancroft's channel.
Bankrupt, another great.
You can get a
animation.
cover that your boy Luke here did. You can get a cover that your boy Luke here did.
What?
And I'm very excited about that.
That's so cool.
Also, if you need
twist
voiceovers for your
twist.
if you need voiceovers for your trailers and whatnot, Dead Metal Hero, another Luke
Death Metal
Aglietta,
Hero.
awesome.
Yep, he actually, he did the voiceover for that trailer. Did a fine job. And phrasing, Luke.
Yeah.
Phrasing. It is all about phrasing. Welcome, Funny Pictures.
Yes,
Welcome here. That you're here with us today. Yeah, we've had a lot of other people join us in since we last welcomed everyone. But we're going to close this thing down, guys. I really do appreciate you being here. Be sure to check out Pedro Ang's animation school that he's doing on his YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe there. Justin is, he's going to have a good afternoon. He's going to have a good evening tonight. Okay. Yeah, because he's going to get some fresh pages for Chrome Dog today. I'm going to have some finished inks for Chrome Dog this afternoon.
What?
So he's going to be pretty excited about that. And you should expect a few pages a week, probably more than that. So I know we've got to try to work Patrick into this equation.
Yeah. Wow.
We got to work Patrick into this equation because he is also working on another project that I'm on, and he is so far behind. He has to catch up with me. Yeah, he is so far behind on work we've already been paid for. So,
ouch.
I'm finishing page 40, and he just finished page 15.
Well, I mean, you know, at least I gave us all leeway. I'm just hoping that it's all going to work out.
Yeah, he'll be able to get it done. I need him to catch up on this project at least a little closer, and then I'm going to have him jump on Chrome Dog once all the inks are done, so you can just get that done for you.
Sweet. Thank you.
Just get it done. All right. So, we are a comic book producing studio and doing quite have a lot of fun doing it. Whiskey's working on a new comic book. He's already starting to I've seen some of his layouts that he's working on, and as artist, he bagged a good one, man. Holy smokes, this guy's fantastic. I can't wait till he starts showing off some finished pages from this guy. You are going to be anticipating this book. The concept and the story is very neat. Takes a different approach to fantasy, and I like it.
Talk about it?
Yeah, talk about it for you got 45 seconds.
45 seconds. Okay, so no, I'm just kidding. Story about necromancers and all that kind of wonderful stuff. It tells a tale of basically a character that's the worst person in the universe trying to save the universe. It is a dark and terrifying tale, I guess, somewhat told in a comedic kind of way, and it's going to have, like I said, necromancers, high sorcery, high fantasy, all that wonderful kind of stuff, and whatever is wonderful about it. And yeah, you should when it's there or when it's ready, you can check it out. And I can't do it justice in 45 seconds.
No, it's a good one though. You guys are really going to like it. I think you're really going to enjoy that one. But the artist, wow, he's good. He's really good. So, all right, guys. Be on the lookout for all of that great stuff. Again, go over to fundmycomic.com, check that out. Also, this weekend, I hope to have a link up so that you can start submitting your work, previously crowdfunded work, to ironagedistribution.com. We do have the site up. You can visit what we've got. It's still a work in progress. We don't have hardly any of the main stuff that we need to have up there yet, uploaded, but you can see and kind of check out what we've got going on. Or just kind of look at the graphic on the front page. There's not really a whole lot of other things going on yet. So we are building that website out as we work on our marketing and things like that. So that is coming. Also, later this year, we have registered fundiverse.com, and we will have a third site called fundiverse.com. So if you're out there and you want to make a self-propelled AI lawnmower and you don't want to pay 5% to the other places and you like the idea of a 3% platform fee, well, guess what? We're going to have one for you. It's going to have all of the tools. It's basically going to be a clone of Fund My Comic, but it's going to be for everything else. Someone asked me, Luke, are you going to merge the two sites together one day? No, I am not, because comics deserves its own audience. Comics is my passion. It's my love. everything about the comic book store is great. Being able to go there to find your games, your novels, your miniatures, and all that kind of stuff. We want to keep that audience, that geekdom, all to itself over there on Fund My Comic, so nothing gets lost in the mix of high tech and other things that are out there. But we will have a sister site where you can crowdfund other things of your liking called fundiverse.com. Right now, if you go to that, it's just going to give you a, this has already been registered kind of thing. We don't have that on a landing page yet, but I'm giving you some insider baseball on that. It is a coming, my friends. And we also have some new features coming to Fund My Comic. We'll be sending out our first mass email to all of the users soon. And one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to promote other forms of media that people are going to. So we will be partnering here soon in the future with Iron Age Media on some of their stuff and working with them very closely to bring you great content so that you will know what you need to back and what you need to support. And then we are also working with Bleeding Fool, that right now anybody from Fund My Comic, when your campaign is approved, we provide you with a link directly so you can submit your campaign to be featured over at bleedingfool.com.
Oh, that's nice.
So we got all that going on. Yeah.
Really
so
cool.
we're really growing. We're really moving in the right direction. And I'm very, very excited about making comic books and kind of creating our own realm of success over here.
Exactly.
And we don't need the mainstream. We are the new mainstream. That's
the
my
mainstream.
anyway.
Like, I don't know. I feel like the mainstream is like in the last stages of the Roman Empire, which is like it was like a husk, and barbarians were wrecking its Romans. It's nothing.
We are the new guard. We are the ones. We are the Iron Age guys.
We're
So
ready
with that, guys, don't forget. Too many people out there trying to tear things down. You need to build up more than you tear down. You need to leave that wood pile a lot higher than you find it. And you know what? By all means, you should be careful out there. Let's be careful out there.
Let's be careful out there. Let's be careful out there. We had a 187 at the 7-Eleven on the corner of 4th and Main. Two Caucasians of the male persuasion put a bullet through the cashier's brain. Moving on, I see it 211, half a dozen 459. 2 ADWs, a GTA, and several miscellaneous crimes. Homicide, arson, robbery, rape, everybody gets their share.